would rather do that than to have money. Keep doing what you're doing. So I'm like, great, that's what we'll do.
It does smell. It smells like burning cigar ash. Anyway, I was worried about it. Doesn't matter. What's going on, everybody?
Hey!
Yeah, we haven't even, I was about to say, we haven't even started yet.
We are the Bourbonists. We have Michael Steinkamp, owner of Investment Whiskey.
Wiki?
Whiskey.
Haven't even started drinking yet.
No, we haven't even sniffed it yet.
Haven't even started drinking yet.
That's just at the suggestion of whiskey.
With us here. We've got the Gimp in the corner. You know, show your arm.
Actually,
gotta show your arm.
Actually, technically, Michael's in the corner. I'm just in the side of the shot.
Yeah.
So how dare you?
Dan gets his cast on tomorrow.
I'm the Gimp.
Yeah.
Yep.
Had wrist
the phalanges
reconstruction
are
surgery.
still swollen and
Kill bosses.
Still in pain?
yes.
Oh, man.
Quite a lot.
Actually, I was just kind of upstairs and like it thankfully it's not all the time. It kind of ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
But like there have definitely been times since the surgery to where it's almost like you don't even move it or anything, but it almost just kind of like takes your breath away.
Oh.
And it's so been dealing with that. It's been very nice though, because like it hasn't been as bad as I thought it would be. Now, granted, I've been through this before.
Oh, okay.
I actually tore the exact same ligament in my left hand. 3 years ago, playing beer league softball. Oh. Now that time, I ended up going to a doctor who, well, you know what? I won't speak ill, but let's just say it took. I had 3 surgeries in the span of 6 months.
Oh,
but that, like, I don't know. There's been part of this to where I'm like, I didn't remember that last time.
Yeah.
But this time, there was like, because they give you some pretty heavy hitting pain meds.
Yeah.
Especially right after a 2-hour surgery.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to make it like very, I don't want to deal with the heavy hitting. Like I'd rather just deal with ibuprofen and Tylenol. And just
ideally. I'm with you.
And so ever since then, it's been a little bit more painful, but thankfully after about the 3rd day post-surgery, I haven't had to take any.
Oh, so, good. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good.
But that means I can do more of what we're about to feature.
Yes, absolutely. That's important, right?
Exactly.
Well, this light's not going to turn on because I don't know where the remote is, so that's fun. Hey, I'm back. All right,
All
cool.
right.
Anyway, so what?
Should we start with some whiskey?
Let's start with some whiskey. Yes. Let's start with some whiskey.
So, I've brought the gamut tonight. We have 7 bottles available.
We're all crawling home.
Just remember, you are driving me home.
Because Dan can't drive yet. Well, then I guess we'll be sitting for a while.
Yeah. So this is our first bottle that came out. And I guess I should preface this with a couple things, I guess, about investment whiskey and what we do, right? Investment whiskey is always single barrel. Mm-hmm. We're always cast strength. And then we're always finished. Yeah. Right? Those are the 3 things. So the bull has 3 jewels in the crown. Those 3 jewels stand again for single barrel, cast strength, finished.
Oh, cool.
Right? I am a financial advisor by trade.
Sure.
That's what I do. That's why it's called investment whiskey. That's why we have a bull on the front. Bull markets are good. And
really? Like bull
market good, bear market bad.
Oh, I thought you were saying like anybody who has a logo with a bull on it does well.
No.
Again, your math is off.
Maybe. I mean, Ferrari does all right. Lamborghini does all right.
The Rock does well.
Yeah.
So,
he used to.
Yeah, so maybe. But
I don't know. Sorry. Anyway.
It's working for us so far.
Right.
Yeah. Bull markets are good in the stock market. We're currently in a bear market right now, so it's been a little hectic the last couple
make
weeks.
your investment in whiskey.
So invest in whiskey.
Yes. So what we have here is this is our first release. This came from Royce Neely and Neely Family Distillery down in Sparta, Kentucky.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Royce is 11th generation distiller. the first one to do it legally in his family. Now I poured light because we got a long way to go. But
Yeah.
if you want more, I'm happy to share more.
Well, you know.
Royce lined up about 40 barrels for me to taste and said, Steinkamp, just going out there, you have fun, you pick out what you want. When I picked
That's a
barrels,
good accent.
oh yeah, that's Royce, great guy. Royce, again, fantastic distiller. So when I go to pick, though, I don't want to know the age of the barrel. I don't want to know the mash bill. I don't want to know anything about it. I'm tasting blind.
Right.
And so the first bottle that we did, it ended up being, it's a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. It's a 5-year-old barrel. It is a 4-grain. Royce runs a pot still, old school. He also does everything sweet mash. He just won best small batch in the world in San Francisco with Hidden Barn.
Wow. So he does Hidden Barn.
Yes.
Okay.
So Jackie's Ican, St. Louis native.
Yes.
Right?
My friend dated her in high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, babe. She knows.
I do that all the time.
She
I
knows.
understand. Yeah.
She knows.
Yep.
So Jackie left Old Forester, started her own brand. It's
Yep.
Hidden Barn. Went
Wow.
and bought all of her barrels from Royce. That's where the
Oh.
barrels come from.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, and then he's got the first platinum, the only platinum award-winning absinthe in the world.
Wow.
So, and
The Green Fairy.
he is incredible, right?
Yeah.
Not even 40 yet.
Yeah.
So
That's incredible.
tears it up. So, one of my favorite whiskeys when I started my whiskey journey was Angel's Envy, which is finished in a port barrel.
Yeah.
This is why this is finished in a port barrel. It's a California ruby port, and I believe it was in there like 12 weeks. The barrel was pretty wet when we got it. So, Kentucky straight, 4-grain, 5-year-olds, 105 proof. Cheers.
Cheers. Let's do it. Clink it and sink it.
Don't.
Just gonna hear a lot of lip smacking on the.
Yeah, just never mind. Never mind.
Oh man.
It's very rich on the back end. Like dark. I'm getting like dark chocolate.
Yep. Those black currants are coming through pretty strong too.
Absolutely. A little, maybe even a little pepper on
Yep.
there.
Oh yeah. But it's not
But just enough.
disorienting pepper.
Well, yeah, so let's talk about the way I finish things too,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
that's very important. I believe a finished whiskey should complement the original juice, not overpower it.
Right.
Yes. We actually featured the
Maple, oh yeah,
maple on
yes.
the last episode.
Yes.
And we talked about that very thing where it's like it doesn't overpower it, it's meant
No.
to help it.
Correct. Yes, and that is one of the guiding principles, right? And so when we're finishing, I'm tasting on a regular basis, right?
Sure.
Because I don't want it to overpower. Because so often when you buy a finished whiskey, what you're getting is, in all honesty, people are going to tell the truth about finished whiskey. It's a barrel that the distillery went, I can't. That's not a good barrel. I can't sell that barrel the way it is. Well, let's bury it in a Madeira barrel for 18 months. And then not only can I sell it, I'll raise the price on a
Right.
barrel that I wouldn't normally. So that's not what we do. We pick great whiskey, finish it to accentuate the original, not overpower it.
Yeah.
Right.
Royce puts everything in it, the barrel. So this was probably like 1.7, 1.8 when it came out of the barrel. But like I said, the port barrel was pretty full. It had juice in it still.
Right, right.
So that brought it right back down to 105. It's just a delicious,
It's
easy,
so easy
very,
sipper and
yeah, full though. You get the oils from that pot still.
it's very good. Look out, Angel's Envy.
Honestly, no. Step aside, Angel's Envy.
Well, that's my. Thank you. That's awesome. That's my whole thing is. So I don't have any original ideas. You're gonna find that real quick.
Well, you know,
I don't.
before you
I just don't.
No, before you say this, there's a book, and it's a philosophically dense book, so that's why I only got through 3 pages. But one of the quotes in it that I loved was basically originality is just stretched mimicry or imitation.
Yeah.
So originality is just taking something you find and taking something you already see or an idea that has been presented to you, and you just turn your own spin on it, and then now it's original.
100%.
So originality actually takes form in imitation already.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, this is my side hustle. My true side hustle is I'm a musician playing a bunch of different bands around
That's what
town.
you were saying.
Yeah, and there are only 11 notes. They've all been played in the whatever order that you're going to play. You can't come up with anything new. It's impossible. Not going to happen. So when we made this, I said, I want to make Angel's Envy on steroids, right? If Angel's Envy picked their very best barrel and they finished it just enough to put a hint of that sweet port, that's what I want.
And
I
boom,
feel like,
you did it.
Feel like we hit that.
I'm telling you, so Adam and I, a couple nights ago, got together and just hung out. And I had
Will Robinson.
my first glass. We were fine. You made it home. I was already at home. You were great.
Dude, it was so funny. I don't like to get drunk, at least not drunk. I hate that.
Agreed.
I hate that feeling.
No, I do too. When you're out of control.
I hate it. Well, and so when I'm out of control, I can't sleep. I'm dizzy and I puke.
Right.
It's only happened to me twice in my life. I hate it. So I get tipsy, which I just get louder and talk more. And then I get to the I'm sleepy stage.
Yep.
And at his house, I got to the sleepy stage. But he's the opposite. He starts to slow down when he first starts drinking. But then the more he does, the louder he gets and the more like boisterous. And so there's a couch in his office. And so I started falling asleep on the couch and he started playing this like DJ mix song. And then like every 2 minutes he like threw something at me and be like, wake up, listen to this part. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
He's falling asleep. I'm over in an office chair dancing.
But anyway, continue.
But so the first drink I had that night was it was Angel's Envy Cast Strength. It was a barrel pick, Total Wine barrel pick.
Oh, okay, nice.
And it was one of those bottles. So me and my two older brothers love whiskey, and this was just to let you know, like, we never talk to each other in full sentences. It's always either 1 to 2 words or it's like an animated GIF.
Like a meme.
And
Sure.
Yeah. And so this was one of the first times my oldest brother reached out in a very long time. He goes, Dan, Total Wine apparently now has their own barrel pick of a cast strength Angel's Envy. And at the time, I never heard of it. And he goes, it's $100. The moment I left work, I was at Total Wine 10 minutes later, and I bought it.
Yeah.
And I actually, it was one of those times to where I made the decision I wasn't going to buy. I was going to take some time from buying whiskey.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
like a week later,
Right.
he
That's
goes,
always when
there's a
that
cast
happens.
strength Angel's Envy. And I go, I didn't know there was a thing. He goes, it's $100. And I was like,
No.
Sure.
that's gone.
Yeah. Right.
And it was delicious. But that night I took a sip. Now, granted, it might be because I've had this for a while, but like I took a sip and I was like, it's just hotter than I remember.
Yeah,
like
not great.
Yeah.
But that tasted like when I first opened up the Angel's Envy Cast Strength, it tasted like that, except more of your bourbon whiskey instead of the port finish,
Right.
which is perfect.
Yeah.
And that's the best compliment we can get, right? So Angel's Envy does a cast strength every year, and they release it. It comes in the coolest box, right? Very magnetics, very heavy duty. Dave Probst, who's our sales marketing guy, helps out with everything. Between Dave and I, we have almost every year, right? And there are 15 of them, 16 of them, whatever. And so one night we lined them all up and went through them. And some years are just incredible. Some years are not as good, right? But they're beautiful, the presentation and everything. It's also cool to see from beginning to end, because the beginning are like in a pine box with a little latch with like plexiglass on it, and then as you go along they get really heavy duty,
Really ornate.
until last year, and they dropped the box. There's no box, it's just a bottle.
Really?
Yes.
That's weird.
Yeah, so those really cool, heavy-duty, beautiful boxes that I was happy to fork over $250 for.
Yeah.
Now, no more box, but same high price. So that's the first one I haven't bought. I was like,
That was the one I bought because it was sitting on a shelf at Total Wine, just bottle.
It's still a good bottle. I've had
I will say Angel's Envy, I think, is one of the most beautiful bottles, and I'm a sucker for marketing and presentation.
Absolutely.
And so when you have this like gold actual metal kind of chain of the angel's wings, I was like,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Worth the $100.
Yeah.
Gaudy
Yeah,
as
so that
shit,
was
but
new.
it works.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
well,
and
I like gaudy.
you know, you say presentation. That's, you know, we call ourselves a premium finished whiskey.
Sure.
And so as part of that, I wanted a tall bottle, right? So we use the Colonel Taylor style bottle.
Yeah.
We wanted our labels to be the heaviest paper that you can find, which they are. They're embossed. They're hot stamped. Yeah, there's not much expense spared on bottle and label, and yeah, it's silly what we spend on a per bottle level.
Well, and I think that's worth it because obviously you're not going to spend money on something that people would find to be, I guess, minimally important. At the risk of not being able to find the actual phrase that I want, but but like labeling is important.
Oh,
and
it
when
is.
you act, especially if you as the individual who's maybe not making the actual juice, but you're bringing the
Right.
two ideas together and presenting something original. When people find out that you're actually spending as much as you do on just the individual labels themselves, that means that you're taking pride in every aspect.
And the other part of this, again, I'm a financial advisor. I own my own firm. We're in Sunset Hills. You know, I've got the band stuff. I play a lot, and that does really well. So whiskey is a passion project for us. I don't, you know, my investors, they love it when I say this. We're not here to make money. We're really not. It's not. It's about making great whiskey. And when I started this company a little over a year ago, my buddy Demetrius Kane from Nobleton's Distilling House
Oh,
said,
we're familiar.
"Oh yes, yeah, drinking out of Nobleton's glasses."
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
He's not listening.
Demetrius said, "Look, the one piece of advice I've got for you is you need to make whiskey that you like, because if the whole company just goes down the tubes, at least you got a garage full of stuff that you really like."
Yep.
And so that's what we do, and it's all over our website and our branding. We don't make whiskey for profit. Now we want to break even, and we're doing that, but we make whiskey that we like to drink.
Oh, I thought you meant on your website. It just says, "I don't care if you like it. I like it."
Well, you know what? I say that all the time
Uh-huh.
too. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Some people are going to want it more finished, or they don't like the cask. That's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I know I really like it.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
That was actually something that I kind of I struggled with really internally when we did our barrel with Demetrius, was like, oh God, I hope everybody likes this. And I got multiple feedbacks of like, oh, it's too hot. And at one point I was like, then you don't drink enough. Go away.
Yeah.
I don't put water in it. That's the other thing I tell, when I'm out talking about it. I'm like, look, we're doing it at cask strength. If you want to put water in it, put it on ice. I don't care. You can put it on Dr. Pepper for all I care. Just buy the bottle.
Right.
Right.
But it's one of those things that
Yeah.
like I was like,
Doesn't matter.
I had to come to a point where I was like, I love the stuff. I can't get enough of it.
Right.
I've personally gone through 3 bottles of it. So I mean, it's some of the best stuff I've ever had in my life.
That's what you want.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what, well, 2 things. One, Demetrius actually says this, like he makes the stuff to be enjoyed on ice, because that
Yep.
was what his family always, like
Right.
ice was a commodity. So
Yeah. Right.
you would get ice and you'd stick ice in your glass of whiskey as kind of like the treat after you had a long, hard day's work.
Yep.
You treat yourself.
Still drinks everything on ice.
Yep, exactly.
If you're
And-
rolling through barrels with him, he's gonna put it on 2 cubes.
Yep.
Yep. And his staff even knows. If you haven't been out there, you should go out there and do a tour. But his
Seriously.
staff knows they got to bring ice down when you start rolling through barrels with him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's great, and kind of opened me up a little bit too. I was like, no, and no, I need a Glencairn glass, and no, stop, just enjoy, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
You ready for next bottle?
That's not a question that needs to be asked.
Well, your glass needs to be empty, and that's how that.
Well, sure, yeah.
Bottle number 2 also came out of Royce Neely's house. This also just totally by chance is a 4-grain. It's also a 5-year-old barrel. And this we finished in a Madeira cask.
So I love the story of how Madeira is made. Can you explain it?
It is absolutely incredible, right?
Yeah,
And
it's so
very,
cool.
very important. So Angels Envy did a Madeira cask.
Yeah.
I still have it. I have a heel of it. And this barrel did come from the Isle of Madeira. Oh, wow. It's an actual Madeira barrel. So for those that don't know, and I'm not a wine guy, so if I get this wrong, you can email them and tell them that I messed it up.
All I'm going to say is I'm not looking. So
I don't read the email. Send them.
listen, most people who talk to me say it's kind of like talking to a brick wall. You're welcome.
Yeah. So the Isles of Madeira are a couple hundred miles west of Spain, Portugal, France, right? And so when the New World was discovered, the last stop they would make before heading to the New World was the Isles of Madeira. They're volcanic islands, but they can grow grapes, right? So those grapes are going to be different than almost anything else. But what they soon discovered is that the wine would not survive the trip to the New World. And the only way to do that was during fermentation of the grapes, they would add a neutral grain spirit into it. So think vodka, but this is really like brandy because it's a neutral grain spirit made with grapes. So they take wine, run it through the still, run it through the still, run it through the still until you get like a vodka. But while the grapes are fermenting and the yeast is still eating, they'll drop that grape vodka in there. No flavor, no taste, instantly kills the yeast, which also then locks in some sugars. Those sugars, along with the higher alcohol content, allow the wine to make the journey to the New World, that's 6, 8, 12 weeks, without the wine going bad. So Madeira wine is to wine what the IPA is to beer.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. All right.
So IPAs, India Pale Ale, only exists because when Britain was heading towards India, the beer would not make the trip. So the only way to make that trip and have it survive was to throw extra hops in it and make it acidic. And
way.
The extra hops to make it acidic, to make it last the journey, then it wasn't just a pale ale, it was an India Pale Ale.
Yeah.
Wow.
IPAs are only to survive the trip around the Horn to make it to India.
That's
Madeira
insane.
wine is only to make it
To America.
to America,
America.
Yeah.
to the New World. So there you
Yeah,
go.
you got to be tough to make it to America, so I get it.
Yeah. This one comes in at 109 proof.
We're moving up.
This barrel was not as. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stay on
Not as
target.
wet. So this one stayed in there 16 weeks. I got you, Gim.
I appreciate you.
We're all friends now.
I need a hand.
I got you.
Again, tell me if you want more. I'm happy to pour more. The other thing we say all the
I
time
may-
is
I may come back to you.
the other thing we say is share whiskey, make friends, invest in good times.
I want to come back to that because I want to figure out
Yeah.
because that hits me on like a spiritual level. That phrase, like when you told me that night when we met,
Yeah.
I looked at my wife and she just starts tearing up because there's just such a realness to that. But we can talk about that.
We can
in a
talk
little
That
about
was
bit.
on
Yeah,
Valentine's Day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
You
Yeah,
guys were
no,
also
no,
you guys
no.
were also drinking.
No. That was.
You didn't come across to me like that.
No,
Or
that was
that
the
was after.
anniversary party. That was the anniversary party at Nobleton's.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
where we met.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, Madeira cask.
Definitely the most complex of what we have. When I run into big time whiskey drinkers and we run through the gamut like we're going to do here, they'll often come back and say, this is my favorite because it is so complex.
It's insanely sweet on the nose. Like just berries.
See, that is a completely different taste note than I'm used to in whiskey. And it's not on the back end, it's like right in the middle.
Yeah, right on the palate.
There's a weird bitterness to it, but it's not like bad bitterness.
It's like a sourdough bread,
Correct.
fresh
Yeah.
bakery, stone fruit, and then the very end sweetens up just enough. I've had people tell me on the very back of the palate, on the back of your tongue, almost here in your jaw, is like a Bazooka Joe bubblegum kind of sweetness. At the
I
very
never.
end.
I was so focused on that sourdough.
No, I'm feeling it's like a tingle.
It's way back there. Yep.
That's weird. Not in a bad way. Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
my gosh. It's
I
like you
get a
said,
little bit-
very
Yes.
complex.
Yes.
That's good.
I feel like I work in a haunted house. My floor's just creaking above me.
Well, at least you
Lord.
know who it is.
Yeah, right. I think so. No.
Well, if not, then we know it's someone.
Wow.
And I will say, on the nose, it's probably one of the best
Noses.
smelling. Yeah.
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 This just so sweet.
I mean,
But not sugary, syrupy
No,
sweet.
no.
Right?
Not like
No,
sugar
Not-
cane.
Yeah. No.
No,
it's not like artificial flavoring.
Correct.
Like
It's
bottom
like
tier
fresh
whiskey.
fruit sweet,
Yes,
but not citrus.
yes.
Like
where
a
it's just-
berry sweetness.
Yeah. Like.
yeah.
Yeah. Stone fruit. Well, I'm not sure what that even means, but that's what I've come to think of.
It's people who eat stone.
Yeah.
It's stone eaters. You've heard of window lickers, puddle sniffers, now stone eaters.
Yeah. They'll meet at
He has no
Stonehenge
filter.
and-
It's just it's
Oh,
it's
it's all-
if it's in here, it's coming out here. No
I
game.
love it. We're all good.
You mean if it's in here?
All right, it's here.
Yeah, you pointed in my throat. I'm like, I don't throw up.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, we're real proud of that one.
And I
That's
will
really
say,
good.
like, for anyone who does listen to this, when it comes to like tastings of either, I mean, we've plenty of times we've talked about the cigars we smoke, the whiskeys we feature. We'll talk about what we're getting, and I will say, there's a lot of people who don't understand like the tasting aspect of
Yeah.
smoking a
Oh.
cigar and
Yep, absolutely.
whiskey. They just drink the drink. And listen, no disrespect to you at all. Seriously, you do you. But
Right.
when it comes to tastings and what we talk about, and honestly, if you do end up getting into it, the biggest thing to kind of remember is it's all subjective.
Yes. And like even and I talk about that a lot, like when I do a class or a presentation, right? If I'll ask who's new to whiskey, who are my vets, who, and then we'll talk about, 3 sips to acceptance. Your palate isn't going to be happy until it has 3 sips, right? First one's just a drop. The second is 2 drops. Now we're ready for, we go through that whole thing and how to sniff and breathe and that, because I want you to enjoy it. It's interesting. I was visiting my daughter. She lives in Virginia Beach. I was there a couple weeks ago, and we went to a couple distilleries and we visit. And we're in this tasting at this distillery, and there are only 5 people plus our guide, my daughter and I, and then a mom and 2 daughters. The 2 daughters were like my age, right? I'm 54. If they listen, they're like, we're not 50. Maybe they're in their 40s. I don't know. God.
I'm gonna find you.
I know.
Listen, you look 50, all right?
So the mom and the one daughter, they like whiskey, and they're hitting it, and we're drinking cask strength stuff. But the other one doesn't like whiskey, and every time she's just pounding it. And our guide, bless her heart, it was Saturday afternoon, so no distiller, nobody from. She was taught, this is your script, say yours, and she did a fine job with the script.
Sure.
But after watching her do that twice, and I said, can I hijack this for a minute? I'm going to hijack this. And then I did. And my daughter's like, oh my God, she's 30, but she's seen it all. So I hijacked and we went through, this is how you should be sipping whiskey to taste it and all. Just slow down, take a moment. We're not doing fireball shots at the bar on a Saturday. And it makes a big difference when somebody can walk you through that and teach you how to do it. And so, if you're listening or you're getting into it and you're like, I don't taste any of that, go sit down with somebody that is a whiskey person and they can walk you through and what to look for.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's where.
And I love how dark that is.
Oh,
Like that juice is.
Yeah, this one's got some air in it, but it's really dark.
I mean,
on
that's a
that Madeira
gorgeous
cask.
amber.
Yeah, yep. Yep.
All right.
You ready for my favorite?
Whoa. All right. Starting early on the favorite. We've got 7.
Well, yeah, you don't save it till the last.
Oh, no, sorry. We got Nope. Wait, I'm out of order.
That's all right. I'm good with it.
Finished in a rum cask.
This was a highlight. When you allowed us to taste it over at Nobleton's that one day, this was
Yeah. So again, here we are back to Angel's Envy, right? Their rye is finished in a Caribbean rum cask, and so I wanted to do finished in a Caribbean rum cask. The difference being that again, Angel's Envy, they sit in that cask for 6, 8, 10 months, right? I didn't want to do that, but I did get a Caribbean rum cask. It's actually a 4-square rum, which you're like, I've never heard of that. It's the top shelf. Turner Watham runs that company. Turner really knows his stuff in his barrels. And so we have a barrel broker that we work with to buy our barrels and then have them shipped in. Again, this is this is no way to make money, right? If you're doing single barrel finished stuff, it makes no financial sense whatsoever.
it's a very niche market.
It is, right? Okay, well, I want that used barrel. Okay, the barrel's $600. Great, I want that. Now ship it from wherever you are to me in St. Louis. Well, that'll be $600. Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. So it's a Caribbean rum barrel. This is the first time we moved to Demetrius at Nobleton's Distilling House as well. And I love Royce. I love his products. They're fantastic. We'll probably go back there at some point. Just working with Royce being, 50 minutes from my house versus Royce, or working with Demetrius is 50 minutes from the house. Royce is 5 hours plus a time zone, right?
Right.
And so
Yeah.
tasting, sampling, everything's just much easier with Demetrius, and he makes a great product. 9th generation distiller, also the first guy to do it legally, and his family, so that's, all good stuff. If I remember right, this is the one he sells the most of, 51% corn, 45% rye. The rest is the malted barley.
Yep.
And then we sat in the rum barrel for 4 weeks. I tasted it every single week. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
So, man, I'm looking for a side gig. If you need a taster, sign me up, buddy.
I may not be able to pick up the bottles, but I can sure as hell drink them. Well, and that was something I did want to say. Like before we switched from the Madeira, when I took that last sip, I actually got a heavy malt.
Yes.
It was like a heavy malt.
Again, because when you're doing pot distilled, your temperatures aren't near as high, right? And so you're going to keep more of that grain forward. You're going to keep more of those oils. You're going to feel that.
Yeah.
Now, Demetrius, you're switching to a column still, but Demetrius's column still is vacuumed. It's vacuum sealed, vacuum packed, however you want to say that. So the temperatures are much lower.
Also, not a lot of people know this. He made those himself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
Pretty much at least from everything that it's like
He built them.
So
Yeah.
the paintings he painted,
Right.
the bar that has literally a log on it. It's
Yeah.
from the bark from a tree on his land that
Right.
he actually carved, and
Right.
Yeah.
it's everything.
Yeah.
So here's the rum cask.
Rum cask. This is 10 and a half years old.
Wow. Yeah, baby. Okay. So,
55, 110 proof, 111, somewhere in there. So it's nice whiskey up front. You get that fine 4-square rum. You get that nice rum mid to late palate, and then it cleans. Mint.
oh yeah, there's the mint julep on the end.
Yes,
Yep.
that's because we use the mint that is the heirloom rye from Demetrius, and every grain that he uses is malted. And so when you malt it, you don't get the baking spice darkness of rye. You get mint. They either present one way or the other. Typically, Demetrius, your ryes are going to typically be mint, so that's why it clears that nice, fresh wintergreen.
Yep.
It's
man.
incredible.
That was actually
Whiskey,
the word.
rum, clean evergreen at the end.
That was honestly the word I was going to use. The only word that came to my mind. I was trying to figure out what that taste it just fresh. It's like I just cleaned my mouth.
just brush my teeth. We're not even smoking, and I'm still the one coughing. What? I cough on every episode. I don't know why. Whatever. Anyway.
Week long.
Well, it's not like we don't have a bunch of dust and crap in the air around here in St. Louis right now either. So, yeah.
Yeah, last week it was 66 and hailing, and then 2 days ago it was 32 degrees outside, and today it's 77. So,
Yeah. And I live in Arnold,
there you go. Okay.
which was hit by the tornado.
All right, I'm gonna sling some business for a second. Did somebody come check out your house yet?
I will be tomorrow. Yes. I have a client that owns his own business, so he'll go there
fair enough.
first,
Hey,
right?
hey. No.
Gotta stick with your good people.
Gotta
but
stick with your good people.
If that falls through, who should I call?
Infinity Restorations,
Yeah, great.
because I'll be out that way tomorrow too. So
You should call someone else other than him.
No, so we are counting our blessings. We are a mile away from where touchdown was. And all we have is some banged up siding with a lot of holes in it, possibly a roof damage. But everybody is fine, healthy, no trees down. We're counting our blessings. But yeah, as a financial advisor, and the market's taking a little downturn, and then that whole tornado thing, and it's
2025 has
been a little bit of a day.
From what I understand,
Yeah.
2025 has taken a financial hit on a lot of people, and for one reason or another, and I don't know why.
So my compliance and legal guys love it when I start drinking whiskey and giving out advice. But it
Do they say that or do you say that?
no, they don't like this. And notice I haven't mentioned the name of my firm. That's on purpose too. You can look me up. You can find it. No, so market wise, real high level, right? This is not what this is about. Real high level markets. The stock market does not like it when there's uncertainty. They like to know and expect what's going to happen. The market is acting to what they think is going to happen going forward. And right now, you can't act because you're not sure.
Yep.
And so you got a lot of things up in the air. You've got tariffs. You've got Doge. You've got Russia, Ukraine. You've got a potential government shutdown. Plus whatever else might be out there, right? You take all that and you throw it around, and there's uncertainty, and the markets just don't like that. And so we've seen a little downturn at the beginning of the year. Now, that's not unexpected. And the other thing you can look at is in the current administration, when they were in office before, they did something very similar with the tariffs in China. And the market took a dip then too, but they're our president, for better or for worse, whatever your thoughts are, he's a business guy. And so when he starts a negotiation on these tariffs, he's going to throw out a crazy number, right? Well, we want this, this, and this, knowing full well that later it's going to be this, and that's going to be all right. And then the markets will correct and come back up.
Well, it's clear negotiating tactics.
Yes.
When
right?
you're negotiating prices with someone, you aim super high, and then they're
Right.
like, all right, well, I have to come under that, but I'm going to try to be as high as possible.
Right.
Well, and that's that's exact at age like 16. That's what my grandpa taught me about negotiating for a car.
Right.
He goes, all right, now listen. The salesman's going to ask you what your upper limit is.
Sorry, I have to have just.
Oh, yeah. Pour away. Always
Yes.
pour. Share whiskey.
He goes, you lie to that bastard, and you tell him the lowest number.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And you go, hey, listen. So if your bottom line is $300 a month, he goes, you lie to that fucker, and his words.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
great. Yeah. So
You had the same grandpa as Demetrius, I think.
close. So like, this is the same man and it still lives rent free in my head. And in fact, I've said this on the pod.
At least a dozen times.
So one of the things, I'm 10 years old, and I guess I was telling a story and I was doing it wrong, but he looks at me, waits about 5 minutes, or waits about 5 seconds rather, and goes, Dan, listen to me. You know, if you shut the fuck up, open your eyes and ears a little, you'd learn a thing or two. And again, I'm 10.
10. Yeah. 10.
But
thanks, Grandpa.
He was like,
Love
listen.
you too.
Yeah, I was like, okay, bye. So he goes, yeah,
Grandpa's
listen,
cursing
if
again.
the most you will pay or the most you can honestly pay for a car a month is $300 a month. You tell him $250.
Yeah.
And then he'll go, well, let me ask the manager. And then sure enough, he goes back, talks to somebody and is like, all right, well, I can't do 300, but what about 310 or whatever,
Right.
or
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what's happening in the market. The other very interesting thing about the market, if you go back 6 months to right before the election and you look at where the Dow Jones was and you look at where the S&P 500 was and you look from election time to current day, guess what? It's almost the exact same spot.
Really?
Wow.
It is almost the exact same spot. So the election hit, everybody's like, oh, we have a new president. But doesn't matter your feelings on it, on whether you're Republican or Democrat. Doesn't matter. Everybody's excited. And it popped right up. And then it went, well, that was silly because there's, the markets are driven by profits and companies. Well, that was silly. So then it came back down. Oh, no, we're pretty excited. And now all the uncertainty, here we are from election night to now, you're flat.
Just with a lot of noise in the
A
middle.
lot of noise in the
So
middle.
it's basically the market's bipolar.
More and more. Yes.
The market is a loudmouth drunk. It's just it starts one way, and by the end of the night, it's pretty just standing.
It's just a drunk with emotional volatility.
Emotional volatility is key, right?
Yes.
And it's emotions that are driving these things, not underlying numbers.
Right.
And that's where somebody like me can come in and go, look, strategically and philosophically, we haven't changed based on what the market's doing. So
Right.
what has changed now from 6 weeks ago in your long-term planning? Well, nothing. Okay, well, then we're not changing anything. So
Right.
There
it is.
You can tell I've said that a few times in the last couple weeks. Let's drink some whiskey.
Yeah, right. Cheers to Michael's firm.
Black lungs.
This whiskey legs like crazy too.
Oh yeah.
It just leaves that lace on there.
See, I've noticed that with any of Demetrius's things. It just clings to the glass.
Does too, because it's pot distilled. But this in particular is just a crazy whiskey, and this is oftentimes. Well, what's your favorite? Now I don't know. Do you have kids? Yeah. How many kids do you have? 3. Do you have a favorite? Depends on the day. Same, right? With the whiskey.
Well,
But
yeah, see, that depends on who you ask. Because you ask Deion Sanders, he goes, hell yeah, I got a favorite son. And he goes, everyone in the house knows it too, because I tell everyone. Now there's my favorite son.
yes, but the rum finish is probably my favorite. It's long gone. It's been sold out.
Cool.
I have this bottle plus one more left.
Oh man.
For like drinking. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well,
Crazy.
thank you for sharing. it.
Yeah, thank you for bringing
that.
it.
That is
I had
very-
to bring this one. Yeah,
That's a fantastic gift.
it's
Thank
a
you.
fun bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very happy with that one. And you drop an ice cube in there, and it's
Oh, it's
incredible.
heaven.
It's-
Incredible. Yeah.
We're just the same person.
Shut up.
So, suggestion to the audience out there: have a few sips with us, so you can kind of come along for the ride. Well, that baby is dark.
Grab your most expensive whiskey and just drink from the bottle.
Join us on our journey. Oh, what's the?
Got some water in there.
Is that,
gonna say,
I
you
thought
got
that was
holy
iodine. I was going to say, is that rat
Maybe
poison?
Let's see if he burns.
Just a tad bit. We're good.
So again, there's no original idea, right? So one of my other favorite whiskeys is Maker's Mark. Again, playing in a band, you go in a lot of different places. You never know what their whiskey selection is, and so you can always count on a Maker's Mark, and even the divest of dive bars.
Yep.
And so,
It's probably my favorite. Just like if there's nothing else on the bar, you're like, okay, Makers.
always
Like,
easy, right?
It's always easy. It's just straight vanilla, great flavors.
Yep,
Yeah.
a wheated whiskey, right? And if you're newer to this, wheat, when you add wheat to whiskey, it tends to present as a sweeter whiskey. Some people will tell you that the wheat makes it sweeter. Jackie Zykan says that the wheat does not make it sweeter, but it gets out of the way of the sweetness from the corn and allows the corn to come through more.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I went, oh, okay.
She kind of knows her stuff.
So
yeah.
it's kind of like if you throw salt on like a hunk of meat, like steak, it kind of accentuates the flavor of the meat.
Yeah.
Salt
Yes.
itself does not have a flavor. Wheat is kind of the same thing when you add to whiskey. It kind of
So I've
accentuates
heard her say,
what's
right?
there.
Yep. So we went back to Demetrius, and I said, I want to make Maker's Mark 46. Maker's Mark 46 is a wheated whiskey, and then they put French oak staves into the barrels.
Yep.
Right? That extra round gives you a little more, almost like a double barreled or double toasted thing, plus adds some flavoring to it. So I said, that's what we want to do. So that was the first time I said, I'm looking for barrels that have some wheat in them, something a little on the sweeter side, because I know I'm going to fight with the French oak staves. And we ended up picking 100% wheat whiskey.
Wow.
From Demetrius.
Yes.
I don't know if I've had this yet.
Well, all I'll say is his 100% wheat whiskey is absolutely amazing on
Well,
its
if
own.
you've had it, then I've had it. So maybe.
Not necessarily. I bought my brother a bottle.
Okay.
You will not find 100% wheat whiskey out on shelves. And the problem is that, when we're making alcohol, you got to convert the starch grains into sugar, right? And that happens when you cook it up to 150 degrees, 170, whatever that is. The wheat, the starch chains are too large to be broken down.
Right.
And so the only way to get that broken down is to put an additive in it of some sort, or you malt the wheat before you put it in it. So it's 100% malted wheat. So you're going to get nice wheat up front. It's going to come in sweet and nice and easy, very light. And then that French oak staves, which I'll talk more about in a moment after we try it, are going to come in real hard at the end and smack you in the face with baking spice, oak. You're going to get all these big mouth. This is also one of the hottest bottles to come out of Demetrius's shop, 121.2.
I think we're ready.
I think we're ready.
What was the old Louisiana? It was old Louisiana or something that
What?
Heidi brought us at the anniversary party. You've met Heidi, haven't you?
Heidi and I are the best friends. So her husband named this investment whiskey.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so we're
incredible.
He and Steve Akeley.
God
and
bless
I-
his soul.
Let's drink to
Yeah.
him.
Yep.
Drink to him.
Yeah.
Please.
What's his name? Heidi's husband.
And now, Jim.
Fastball coming in.
Yeah,
Corner pocket.
that's Jim. So Steve Akeley and I were driving down to Kentucky on one of our visits to, I don't know where Pig and Barrel's at. And he's like, if you don't name them your whiskey company, investment whiskey, you're an idiot. He said, you tie in financial advisors, you tie in that people buy whiskey to invest in it, et cetera, et cetera. And I went, that's a great name. So yeah, thanks, Jim Fosnot. And that's why investment whiskey is called investment whiskey.
I love that.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah. Now,
That is amazing.
we're going to take this same whiskey, we're going to put 2-3 drops of water in there.
Oh, I thought
Again,
it was like bitters.
normally I'm a neat guy.
It's just his spit.
Maybe.
Got him. There's a couple extra bubbles in there.
That is Kentucky limestone water.
Yeah, buddy.
If you listen to Demetrius, it's all about pH, right? So now instead of this whiskey going like this and smacking you at the end, it's going to round out that baking spice, and it's going to come right at the beginning, but really ease it up.
Oh, much different.
it's a little bit smoother of a transition.
Yeah.
Much, right? It doesn't come and whack you at the back.
So it slowly comes in, but it builds up. It's almost kind of like an orchestra piece. Like it starts
I like
up
that.
and builds up, and then all of a sudden it's just loud in your mouth.
Yeah.
No, so I don't know if I'm just gonna.
You're
Yeah,
just-
let's
I'm just
move
gonna
on.
ride
We're gonna-
past
we're
that.
gonna-
It's loud in your mouth. So
I like how we
I'm
turned to you.
back to you, Adam. So if we
He's
had
just
another
in the-
camera, it'd be yeah.
So he's not only physically gimped.
No, I don't know if I have a form of synesthesia, and I don't know if you know what that is. But it's essentially
Sin and anesthesia.
synesthesia. So it's an overarching term that means certain senses meld with others and use. So like John Mayer, he sees shapes when he hears music. That's why he can play so well.
Huge fan.
That's why
Absolutely
he can play
huge
so well.
fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like an
So-
acid trip.
It kind of. That's the way he describes it. He's talked about it on his podcast before. He's like, I don't know if I have synesthesia, but I have some sort of something to where I hear music and I see shapes. And like it
he's-
helps me play.
He's an absolute freak.
Yeah,
In the
it's
best way.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I have that same thing, but when I taste something, I see visions of things.
Okay.
So the first sip, it was like a ramp.
It is
It was
absolutely
It was just like boom, and then
That's
you hit a
it.
wall.
Wow.
And I got
Right.
like that vision when I
Yep.
tasted this. It felt like a balloon inflating with air.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was just
Yeah.
kind of
That's-
Right?
this rounded taste of It's all the same time.
See,
It's crazy.
it's
right?
it was
Absolutely
incredible.
crazy.
Wanting to kind of add that. So when he said we're just the same person earlier, it's actually
We're
true.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I saw the exact same thing, except the ramp kind of leading up into the loud mouth feel. So me and my brother played college baseball. I didn't. But we played wiffle ball.
Yeah.
I love wiffle
And
ball.
my
We still
brother
play, yeah.
is extremely, me and my brother are very competitive.
Okay.
And so he would just beat my ass
It's an
because
understatement.
he would just beat my ass because he played high school, spring, summer, fall. I quit in 7th grade, but we would still
Me
play.
too. The first time some jack threw a curveball at me and I stepped out of the box because I thought I was going to get hit, and the umpire went strike. I went, "This is not my game.
Hey, listen, this isn't
No.
fun anymore, Dad. I'm
This
done."
is not my game.
See,
I'm
for
going to
me-
stick with soccer and hockey. No, not my deal."
For me,
Holy
it was
crap.
I was so fat that I like saw everyone else running during practice, and I go, "This isn't fun for me anymore." I'm out of breath watching them.
Yeah.
But so he would actually throw. And my brother went even with a baseball, he didn't even need a baseball or a wiffle ball. His ball, we would play catch, and his ball in the air would dance like
Yeah.
this. It would
Yeah, yeah,
zigzag
yeah.
because it just had so
Right.
much spin. And so, same thing with whenever he'd throw a fastball, he'd actually rear back and huck it. And so, just to kind of give you a visualization of how close we are, he's actually throwing a wiffle ball at me with velocity, and if I'm right here batting, he's at Adam's garage door.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
here
Plenty-
we're
Plus or
distance.
minus 15 feet.
yes.
Yeah. Plenty of space. Yeah.
And so he's hucking it at me. But the wiffle ball, every time you threw a fastball, it'd start probably about belly button and it'd end up coming up to about above nipple area.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it would rise, except it's coming at like 65, 70 miles an hour. And so the ball would come, before the ball is out of his hands, it's whistling.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, literally, when I took the sip and you go, it's going to come up and hit you. As soon as I took the sip, I'm envisioning my brother's fastball coming in, and I'm literally hearing,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Awesome. I'm glad I could bring that memory back.
yeah. Well, and this is something, because this is what's so beautiful about cigars as well as whiskey, especially when you pair them, because when you pair them, the combination of the flavors from the cigar and the whiskey come together, and they mold into one tasting note or a couple tasting notes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why a lot of cigars go well with coffee because they're
Yep.
they're
Yep.
both, leaf based things, and like they grow underground no.
They
tobacco
tend to
leaves,
grow in
but
the same soil,
They
too.
grow in the same
Yeah.
soil, yeah.
Which is why tobacco, you'll get coffee flavor notes
Yeah,
as well
yeah.
as if you really look. And if you're just like with whiskey, you're a coffee snob, you can actually find Tabasco
Maybe.
flavor notes. I hope not.
See, do you guys know Demetrius is a huge coffee snob?
Yes, we actually. Okay, so this is. I mean, this can come out now. That's fine. When he starts,
Are you sure?
Yes. When he starts making the ability to mass produce the coffee more, we are coming out with a bourbonist coffee. coming
Nice.
from
I
him.
love it. I love it. That's awesome.
We're gonna make
Great.
it's gonna call. He's like, we can make it so it's the perfect blend to go with a cigar. And he was
Yeah.
like, we'll make a cigar cut coffee.
Love it.
Cigar
Done.
blend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cigar
love
blended
it.
coffee. Yeah.
So we are working on our release this summer. We do one. Ideally, we do a bottle every quarter. That's
Sure.
what we like to do, right? With our retailers and what we have, it's a good timeline for us. So we did 2 in Q1, but that's a little bit of a story we'll get to when we start pulling those bottles out. But this summer, the summer release in Q3 will be a cigar blend.
Ooh. So what's that?
That's a great question, right? Because what is a cigar blend whiskey?
A lot of companies have come out with a cigar blend.
Right.
Like Joseph Magnus is one of the most popular
right.
ones.
Magnus kind of starts the whole thing, right?
Okay.
That's where it
So
started.
that's- yeah, actually, that was-
Post-prohibition,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I wrote an article that came out last week for the Bourbon Zeppelin about Joseph Magnus and how that whole thing started. But we're a little company, right? And most often your cigar blends are at least 3 different finishes. And nobody's doing a single barrel cast strength cigar finish. It's the dumbest thing, right? So now I got to have 3 barrels, and we're $100 a bottle. That's our MSRP, right?
Worth every penny.
A premium bottle.
Everyone.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, I believe so too. But how do I do that and still keep the price 100? I believe we have it figured out, but maybe I'll have to come back this summer and we'll talk about how we did it and what we did. But
Done.
100%.
There are definitely some challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll bring Dave with us, who's our cigar guy.
Yep.
Yep. So
That'll be perfect.
Absolutely.
Could I get a little bit more before we?
absolutely.
That's one of my favorites
Oh, sure.
So let's talk about.
of whiskey. Investment whiskey
Say when.
is one of my favorites.
Good.
Of he didn't say when.
That's fine. We've got 3 more to go through.
I actually have 4.
We have 4 more to go through. That's what I said. So,
You see, Adam, this is why I just don't talk.
There are 3 more investments to do, but I have 4 bottles. We're gonna have a little fun with one of them. So
this is news to us. I don't know if you can tell by the expression on our faces.
Nobody watches our YouTube, buddy.
So they
we're
watch
good.
the clips.
I could listen. I could come naked, and we could do an episode.
No,
well,
can't do
we'll
that.
Be done.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna go into a different room. Dan, you can stay.
Dan's got that
That's
episode. You're gonna leave me with them.
Bourbonist nudist.
So, guys, we're doing a whole new episode.
No, it's a whole nude episode.
I was just gonna say intimate time with Dan.
That's only fans, buddy.
That's yeah.
Good point, Adam.
No, we're good. We're good. We're good.
A lot of
We have
money.
enough on our plate.
Lot of money. All we need is feet.
Oh, I like you guys.
You said that after the feet.
Well, it's funny. The feet are funny. So back to whiskey.
Yeah.
Let's talk about finishing this because, again, I'm ripping off Maker's 46, right?
Sure.
And they put French oak staves in their barrel. Buying a barrel of French oak is super cost prohibitive for us, right? And so I go online and I find French oak staves that are about, yay long, about, so 18 inches long. And they're a couple inches, maybe inch and a half wide. And they're toasted, not charred, which is what I was looking for. You can find them at wine places to drop in wine and things like that.
So anybody who's kind of a layman in this stuff, a stave is just a term that's just a really
It's a stick.
yeah, it's a fancy term for a stick that comes from a barrel.
Yeah.
Or comes from a certain type of wood.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So I bought sticks, French oak sticks, right? And I take those to Demetrius, and we're like, okay, yeah, we'll put them in the barrel. And I'm like, great. But so I buy these French oak toasted sticks, and I get them, and they arrive, and I'm like, at Maker's Mark, they take the top off the barrel and they drop them in. And I'm like, well, we're not taking the top off the barrel, so they've got to go in the bung hole. Are these going to fit in the bung hole? And so I search average bung hole size.
I don't think.
What came up, Michael?
No. I'm just a Catholic
Let him answer.
moral man with 5 children and a wife, but I'm gonna guess that did not prove too well of a search for you there, Michael.
I did it on my work computer. I own the company, so it's okay. Yeah, thank God.
Well, I was going to say some companies like
No, I own the company, so it's okay. Yeah, that got refined into whiskey barrel bunghole size.
even
Right.
then you're risking
No,
it.
I was all right then. And
Okay.
the answer is 3.5 inches is the average size of a bunghole in a whiskey barrel.
There you go.
Yes,
Wait,
not
can I-
always.
Don't.
No.
No,
my
don't.
question-
I don't
my
know.
question-
I don't know the answer to that question.
I haven't even asked yet.
I know, but I know where you're going.
No, you don't.
I think
My question is that the actual scientific term of the side hole of a barrel?
Yeah, because the bung goes in it. That is a barrel bung that closes. So the bung hole is where the bung of the barrel goes. Correct.
Well then,
Okay.
F off, Beavis. You've been making fun of whiskey for 35 years.
Yes.
How horrible.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
Yeah. So that's I found that out, and
The hard way.
1 week. 1 week with the French oak staves.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
7 days later, came back, tasted them,
And it presents
went-
with that much
and
flavor?
went- yes. and
That's
went
insane.
Done. It was actually even more violent on that first, and then we weren't ready to bottle, so we pulled it and we put it in stainless, and it sat in a stainless container for about 3 weeks before we bottled, and then it kind of came back down.
Sure.
So
to where we're at.
why'd you choose a stainless container?
Once I go, okay, that is finished. That whiskey is done.
That's
right?
the
It's
flavor
complete.
I
That's
want.
the flavor profile
Yeah.
I want. Then you come out of that. We'll come out of the wooden barrel and we'll put it in food grade stainless, and then no more flavors imparting or anything.
I gotcha.
So stainless steel carries nothing on it.
Right.
That's why it's stainless.
You're not putting. Good plastic, food quality plastic will do the same thing. But it did kind of, just by sitting, mellowed a little bit, which was
Okay.
good. It needed to mellow just a bit.
Yeah.
It was good. Yep.
So this is
One of
number. Go ahead.
No, this is number
4. Mm-hmm. Well, we gotta let him finish his number 4. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
that's number 4.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
more
we
big
did
off.
port, Madeira, rum,
Rum.
French oak.
There's a whiskey that I brought back from Colorado about almost 3 years ago. Me, my brother, and sister-in-law went out to Colorado because we used to go skiing every year, and we had a condo out in Vail, Colorado,
So much good whiskey.
right in the
Colorado.
middle, right in the middle of the Rocky Mountains. It is, to me, it is the most beautiful setting. I love the mountains are the most beautiful place to be, especially during winter. And Vail is kind of like your old time, like most of the buildings are stone.
Yeah.
Stone style village buildings. It's gorgeous. One of the days we ended up going, well, actually, I think we were there for an entire week. I think 3 out of the 5 days we were there, we went whiskey shopping. We drank 4 bottles of whiskey while there.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
You know.
Came
cold.
home with 7 each.
Nice.
But one of them was from the Breckenridge Distillery, and they have one that is not sold here, but it's called the Spiced. It is one of my favorite whiskeys.
Tastes like Christmas.
It literally is the embodiment of Christmas because you get like the cinnamon pine cones.
Okay.
You get the cinnamon heavy forward, then you get pine from the pine trees, and then
there's that
there's the
freshness on the back that you.
Oh,
of
wow.
like the mint julep kind of.
and then the
Yeah.
baking spice.
Yeah.
And this is honestly very reminiscent of that.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
So let me ask you this: how did you guys get into whiskey?
Oh, that's a loaded story.
Well, I can do mine in a couple words or less.
Go.
family's full of alcoholics. My first beer was like, I think 7 or 8.
Yep.
It was at a Cardinal game. I thought my dad got a root beer, and I guess my dad didn't hear the first word root, and so he goes, "Yep, go ahead." And so sure enough, I had a sip.
That's not root beer.
I will say, like, I hated the taste, but something my dad kind of taught from a pretty young age is he had a lot of friends. He actually had a couple friends, not a lot, but he had a couple friends that died in college, and it was because their parents were so strict and so don't even look at alcohol.
Yeah.
And so they go through grade school, high school without even being remotely near it.
And then go crazy.
And all of a sudden they go crazy, they overdose, they end up having to get stomach pumped and everything. But he had a couple friends die because of that. And so he was like, I want you guys to understand what it is. I want you guys to be able to, like, listen, if you're at my house and you're under 21, as long as we're home and you do it in a controlled setting.
Yeah.
And
Totally
you do
legal,
it
by the
around
way.
us.
Totally legal if you're at home with parents' supervision. Yeah.
Exactly. Don't go out and go get in trouble.
Right.
I want you to understand what this is and and especially what happens when you do a little too much.
Right.
Yeah.
Because things go
That's
way
how you
downhill.
learn. Right.
Exactly. And so that was, 8 or 9 years old. That's part of the reason why I kind of had my first beer was my dad wanted me to also understand that alcohol should be more of a social. It's not something you just end up getting hammered on your own.
Right.
You're just sitting down in the basement wallowing, and all of a sudden you're just getting lit.
Yep.
Right.
It's one of those to where you're out with friends.
Yep.
Go enjoy a couple drinks. Go enjoy yourself. If you end up crossing that line and you start feeling a little bit different, make sure you have a backup plan beforehand.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Very important.
I
This is coming back around to your spiced whiskey, I promise you.
my parents were very similar. I never liked the taste of beer because my mom let me try it when I was like 6 or 7. And then I hated it, and that memory locked. And so I was like, okay, this is disgusting. And even growing up, I still don't necessarily like the taste of beer. Like, my favorite beer is Stella, because I think I don't know why, I just cling to that. It's just easy to drink for me. I hate IPAs. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Love 'em.
That's my favorite.
I despise IPAs so much.
That's all right.
And I think I just had a bad experience with one because I had a bad one or something. My first experience with whiskey was it wasn't actually whiskey, it was Scotch. And I worked with
that is whiskey.
Well, yes, but it's whiskey made in
yes.
Scotland. But anyway, I differentiate in my head for some reason. But anyway, it is whiskey. But anyway, so I was with my boss, now friend. I used to work at a wood shop. I used to build custom furniture. And any experience I had with whiskey before was always parties and different things, and just like, oh, we're gonna have a bottle of Four Roses and finish it tonight, and then not be able to remember what happened.
Right.
And but I never got into it until I met this guy Robert, he's slated to be on the podcast, but he had a lot to do with teaching me professionalism, teaching me how to be. Like, my dad taught me how to be a man, but Robert accentuated it, if that makes sense. And so, I became his brand ambassador because I've always been good at, like, film and marketing and stuff. And so one night I went over to his house, and I knew that he loved whiskey, and I knew that he loved cast strength. So I got him for Christmas one year. It was a 24-year Duncan Taylor. And he texts me and he goes, "This is the greatest stuff I've ever had in my life. You're coming over and trying it with me." And I was like, "I don't like whiskey.
I'm not going to appreciate it,
really
right?
care.
Right.
And it was hot and it sucked and it hurt. But I remember, so like, my love of whiskey didn't come from the taste of it. My love of whiskey came from seeing it through his eyes. Mm-hmm. And he would explain to me how all the staves work and how it has to do with the barrels, and it has to do with the aging, and it has to do with how you distill it.
So fascinating.
And how
right?
it's been done for thousands and thousands of years. And it was accidentally, like, the first whiskey, I believe, was accidentally created because monks were trying to make medicine.
Right.
And so and
Yep.
it has like this religious aspect, and monks used to call it aquavite, which is
It wasn't accidentally made.
it was, but it was they were making it to try to make medicine, and aquavite in Latin is water of life. And the monks created this because they were like, this is the fix-all, because it cleanses your system, and it
It was during Prohibition, too.
100%. And so I saw it through his eyes, and I was like, I have to love this stuff. I have to figure out how. And so the more I got into it, so I got into like like I had Shieldig 18, and I had all that PD stuff, and then I came upon Parks and Recreation, the TV show, and Ron Swanson is a huge lover of Lagavulin.
Yep.
And I was like, well, I like this guy as a character, so I must try his whiskey. And that's still my favorite Scotch to this day is
See, I
Lagavulin
still can't
16
do
year.
Scotch, but my journey's a little different
Yeah.
than both of yours on how that comes around. So I'm a beer guy.
Okay.
I'm still at heart a beer guy. My grandfather worked in the breweries until he retired there, right? So beer guys. And then like when Schlafly opened the first microbrewery in the state of Missouri, by the way, in the one that's downtown, I was a teacher at the time, and we'd go down with my teacher buddies and hang out there after they'd first opened and sit with Tom Schlafly and drink beer and enjoy all these beers. And I was homebrewing in like 1993, and if you're listening along, you got to think about that, right? 93, there's no internet. There's no YouTube.
Correct.
The only way you got it was you went to St. Louis Wine and Beer Making, which is still out there, and you talked to them, and man, we made a bunch of horrible beer, right? Horrible, awful beer. So much poured down the drain. But now you fast forward, and there's so many different systems and so much different knowledge. It's just a different world, right? And so many different microbreweries. So we were all about microbreweries. And if you put a beer in front of me, I can taste it, and I can tell you that's this kind of style, right, with this kind of yeast. And then slowly, when the distillery laws changed in the state, people started adding stills and adding distilled spirits. The first one was Square One Brewery Distillery in St. Louis. And they've got a still. Well, we're there to drink beer, right? And now they've got whiskey and, of course it's vodka and gin like everybody starts with because you don't have to age it. They had a whiskey called Vermont Night. Still have it. Vermont Night is a whiskey, but then it's got like maple syrup in it, and it's got cinnamon in it, and it's like 30% ABV, so you can crush it. And I'm like, this is amazing. I'm a whiskey drinker. Now I go back and drink that stuff. I can't do it. It's so sweet and syrupy, but it was a great gateway, right?
Yep.
And that opened the door to whiskey. And then, all right, well, what was after that? Basil Hayden Rye. What was after that? Angel's Envy Rye. And then so I've come through to whiskey through that. To where now, that's
awesome.
Yeah, it's a little different version of the story, but
Well,
yeah, right.
And
But
I will say, I didn't start off just right out of the gate ripping
no.
95 proof. I started at Jack and Coke.
well, everybody does.
Yeah.
And if you do the Jack Daniel's Distillery Tour, which is amazing, they'll tell you that most everybody's first visit with whiskey is Jack and Coke.
Yep.
So let's get off our only drink it neat high horse, because the first time we ever had whiskey was probably Crown and Coke or Jack and Coke
Yep.
or right
Some sugar-loaded whiskey
Yeah,
that you
right.
could barely call whiskey. But
right, right. That was your gateway
Right.
to here. So yeah.
And then that's when I got so over voluptuous that I was like, I gotta cut the Coke. This is unhealthy. And then my brother was like, hey Dan, here's some real whiskey, and got me into Woodford. And Woodford was actually the
What are you doing? What are you doing to us, sir? Oh boy, I don't. Just kidding.
I love how on the neck of the bottle it just says dig it.
Oh,
So you guys have had the maple, right?
yeah.
Cracked
Correct.
the bottle. I loved it.
Smashed it.
This is the whiskey before it became the maple syrup.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is the before. I've got the maple syrup. We'll do that next.
Yep.
This is the before. And what we did with this one is we partnered with the Jefferson County Bourbon Collective, the
Okay.
JCBC. I live in Arnold. We're from Arnold, Jefferson County. And so what we did was we did a barrel pick with the Jefferson County Bourbon Collective out at Nobleton's. They bought half the barrel and then, or whatever. I said, you guys buy whatever you want out of it, and then I'll take the rest of the barrel, and I'm going to make my maple syrup finish with it. And so this is, again, totally by chance, 100% malted barley.
Oh,
So
baby.
this, by the new rules, would be an American single malt. Now, we bottled this up before that rule came around, but this is the maple syrup before the maple syrup. Cheers.
Cheers, fellas.
thank you, Michael.
God bless Demetrius Kane.
Oh, right off the rip, that is beautifully sweet.
Yeah.
And my guys will tell you. So we sampled this with the Jefferson County Bourbon Collective, and I said we're going to vote, right? And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 guys on the Jefferson County Bourbon Collective that helped pick the bottle.
Wow.
And I was concerned. Now, everybody on that bottle, everybody's name is on there. Everyone in that bottle has a good palate. But my concern was, like, when we go taste whiskey, I am tasting, I need this to work with this finish to get me this end result, right? So
Right.
I taste those barrels different. Where they're like, it's going to be a single barrel. We want it to be the best whiskey there is. And so when they pulled this barrel and voted on it, it wasn't my first choice because of what you just said. I thought it was a little too sweet, and I was worried that we were going to be too sweet. Now it worked out.
Oh, it worked out.
Fantastic, but I was like,
Phenomenally.
yeah, but like my guys were like, are you all right? I'm like, oh man, I really like our second choice better, but
And see, that's kind of similar to like
To our story, when we did the barrel pick,
so
our
when we
second
did the
choice
barrel
was
pick-
awesome.
So what Demetrius did was what? It was either 7 or 10.
10 barrels.
it's freaking ridiculous. Yeah, it's
10.
always 10 with us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This was
It's
also
ridiculous.
9 in the morning.
Yeah.
Been there, done that many times.
And I got off a massive event happening at my work. And like my boss numerous times has said, Dan, you can't really take off because we need you badly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting off for this day.
Yeah.
9 in the morning, we're tasting whiskey.
slamming whiskey.
And so
Been there, done that.
when we tasted the barrel that our barrel pick ended up becoming, I knew immediately from the first sip.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember looking at him saying, that's it.
Yep.
And thank God everyone else, there were 7 of us total, every single one of us ended up saying, that one's at least making it to the next round because
Yeah.
you have to
yeah.
whittle it down.
Well, we did the same thing. We went from 10 to 3.
Yep.
The barrel that I wanted was not in the final 3, and I said, "Well, I'm paying $4, so number 3 is gone," and put my barrel back into number 3. And what I wish we had done is then renumbered. What we did was taste back. All right, this is barrel 3, this is barrel 6, and this is barrel 8. And I wanted 8, and I think we picked 6. But again, with all said and done,
It turned out, baby.
it turns out.
this
This
is-
is what we sampled on the last episode.
Yeah, so this is all right, you're gonna wait.
There we go. Maybe not the last episode. Episode before that. 64, I think. Actually, I think we drank this on the Pet Peeves episode.
Pet peeves was
Yeah.
the episode. Yeah,
Yeah,
I listened
yeah,
to it.
That's one of our
What?
favorites. That was such a good episode.
What is that flavor note? So I'm still tasting the whiskey before you finished it in maple syrup barrels.
It's barley, which doesn't typically have a whole lot of flavor to it. It's a nice, easy, clean palate. But, again, the only reason barley's in whiskey is to break down large starch and sugar chains.
Yeah.
That's it. So, like, I went down to Moonshine U.
To the river to pray.
Moonshine U. And that's a great reference, too. and did their executive bourbon class. And so when that mash bill is it's mixing up in this giant vat, it's just barely going. They drop the malted barley in, and it goes instantly because those starch chains have broken down. It's much smaller. That's what malted barley does. So there's not a lot of flavor. It's not like French oak or right.
You can't name the flavor. You're just like, there's something there.
Very subtle.
This was like chalky candy. I was almost getting
yeah.
like Smarties on the back end of the 100% malted barley.
Yeah. More like, in my opinion, it's more like the chalk of a Valentine's heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Not the sweetness of a.
Now I'll say I was
but,
getting
yeah.
the tartness of
tartness
like
of
almost
that,
like
yeah.
a sour candy.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
This, I will have to disagree with the Rumcast. This is my favorite.
Good.
This
Great.
is so. Now, I haven't tried what I'm assuming is in your bag, which is the newest release.
We have 2 more releases in the bag that you haven't had.
Oh.
There are 2 more.
Okay.
8 days in the maple syrup barrel.
Hey, I got it right on the episode.
8 days, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I said 8 days.
Yeah, and I tasted it twice.
I wasn't there. So
I
don't
was
worry.
so concerned about this one being overdone.
No, this is perfectly sweet. This
Agreed, but I was very concerned. I did not want to have a scrape your teeth. Because a
Syrup.
lot of times
Yeah.
when people do maple syrup finishes, it's way too sweet, and you just want to like.
I have to
scrape
go
it on
brush
your
my
teeth.
teeth
Yeah.
because I can feel it out.
It's almost like
horrible.
you get that tingliness
It's
in
horrible.
your throat.
Yeah. You ever so it's super healthy for you and it helps get rid of allergies, but finding local honey and like eating a small drop every day, like swallowing a small drop because it's made from flowers that are in your area and therefore it gets your body used to the pollen.
Did I mention we're going to do a cigar finish in summer?
Yeah. Yeah, anyway. So I'm so excited.
Wait a minute.
But it's that feeling after you like take a dab of honey. It's like that you gotta like get
Yeah.
the stuff
Yep.
off your
Are you
teeth.
finishing it in a honey barrel?
You can't say anything.
Oh no, I can. It's fine. Honey will be part of the end result. Yeah, a local honey. Yep.
So I'm just I hope that we're doing well enough in the summer to just buy the barrel.
I would love that.
Dan's like rediscovering himself through your decisions.
No, I'm thinking about past life choices. I got in the wrong business.
No, we're not making money here. We're doing
No,
all right.
no,
Again,
no.
we're doing
But
all right.
No,
the
no, I'm
thing.
not talking
Right.
about investing
And maybe
or starting your own whiskey company.
Right.
I mean, not becoming a taster.
Oh,
Earlier,
yeah.
I didn't know this was a job.
what was her name?
Right.
Becky? Or no. From Old Forester, who started Hidden Barn.
Jackie's I can't.
Jackie. I don't know why I thought Becky.
Jackie's I Can't.
Jackie's I Can't. Yeah, I don't know.
One of the best palettes in the business.
Well, she was on the did you see that documentary called Neat?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
she was in that.
Yes.
And I was
Yep.
like, oh, and then I told my friends about it, and my buddy Pat was like, oh, yeah, I dated her in high school. And I was like, and you let her go? And he
No.
was like, it didn't work out. I'm like, you make it work out, Pat.
No, listen. All I'm gonna say is Pat was lying. That's like when you're in high school. That's like when you're in high school and you're like, dude, I'm not gonna lie, kind of got a crush on Carrie Underwood, and that one guy in the back of class who nobody talks to, but just gets up and goes, "I dated her last year," and you're like, "Shut up, Joe. No, you didn't.
No.
Okay, but I know a guy who did," and you're just like, "No, you don't, Joe."
He 100% was because he showed me pictures because they're still good friends.
Yeah,
And he was like,
yeah.
when she worked at Old Forester, he got free tours whenever he wanted.
Yeah.
It was she would do them.
It was interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
her picture was up
Do
at
the
Old
tours.
Forester.
She would do the tours.
Yeah, up at Old Forester until recently, right? I think I went through there 6 months ago and was like, okay, they finally took it all down. Yeah,
Yeah.
Because she was the face, right?
Oh, yeah,
Because they don't
100%.
have a master distiller; they had a master blender and taster.
Right,
and that
and
was
that was
Jackie.
her, yeah.
And that's she's. A heck
Have
of
you
a
had the
face.
1924 yet?
Oh yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a hold of it yet.
I've been dying ever since I heard it was coming out because Old Forester
the year
it's called the Whiskey Row series.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's one of my
correct.
favorites.
They're so good.
1920. This is still personal opinion. Well, it's obviously personal opinion, but the 1920 Prohibition. think is probably one of my favorite. $50. It's $55.
Yeah,
Yep,
and it's
absolute
just
great
it's
bargain.
stellar, and
Yep.
it's one of my favorite whiskeys to have with a cigar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it just accentuates. I know you don't smoke, but
So I won't say I don't, not ever. Like, so I'm just not a cigar guy. But last year I had the opportunity to be at Yellowstone, and I'm hanging with Stephen Fonte, and he's like, "Well, Mr. Steinkamp, do you want to smoke a cigar?"
Stephen
with me?"
Fonte, I met him. I want him on the podcast so bad. He has the thickest Louisiana accent. He talks exactly like that. So he's a rep for Yellowstone.
Yeah, the brand ambassador.
He's
right?
a brand ambassador for Yellowstone.
right?
He's amazing.
So I'm taking the Yellowstone tour
Yep.
last spring, so about a year ago, and I don't know him. I've never met him.
Yeah.
I know who he is. I know of him. He's a freaking legend, right?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Also started his. Do you know what industry he started in?
No.
Coffee.
That makes sense.
Absolutely.
But that's awesome.
Still a coffee guy, right?
Yeah.
So we're starting the tour, and he's talking, and he's talking about rectifiers. Rectifiers, for those out of it, are people that source whiskey, which is what we do. And right in the middle of the tour, with like 25 people there, he goes, "And Mr. Steinkamp, you, sir, are a rectifier. Why don't you tell the people what a rectifier is?"
He talks like that regularly.
I'm dead on, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've
Sounds
met
like
him,
I'm
so-
watching Django Unchained.
I've met him a couple times at the Bourbon Festival. He's an incredible guy.
Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah.
He talks like Foghorn.
Yeah. Yes.
He's
That's
amazing.
crazy.
And incredible. And I could have died that he knew who I was. And I must have had the look on my face. He goes, "Yes, sir, I know who you are. And I know where you get your whiskey from. And I want to try some. Do you have some with you?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." He goes, "We're going to smoke a cigar and have some of your whiskey."
He's got this huge mustache.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, love
Yeah.
it.
He's amazing.
I
He's
have-
so cool.
So he's like, "Let's go smoke a cigar." I'm like, "I don't smoke cigars." "Well, I'm gonna teach you." I said, "Well, then I'm gonna have a cigar with Stephen Fonte." And that was the first cigar I'd had in 20 years.
Yeah.
Was sitting out at freaking Yellowstone, Limestone Branch Distillery. Go on the tour; it's incredible with Fonte. So I've had a couple of them along the way. I'm still learning, still working, still figuring it out. But normally the next day I don't feel so hot. But yeah, so I had it with Fonte. But I've got the greatest picture of Fonte holding investment whiskey with cigar with me.
That's so
And then-
fantastic.
And then we traded bottles. I said, "Do you like the port or the Madeira better?" He said, "I like the port." So I gave him the port bottle. And then he gave me a bottle of Yellowstone single malt. Before Yellowstone single malt was out and available in a
Oh
deal.
my gosh.
So I've got that bottle with his signature on it. And then we drank a port and a Madeira, and I gave him one. I kept the other, and then he signed the other one. So that bottle
Dude,
is up on a special shelf.
That's so
Yeah, it is
fantastic.
an incredible memory. So not that I don't. It's just I'm still learning, right? I'm still figuring that whole thing out.
He comes to the St. Louis Bourbon Festival every year.
Oh, really?
And I've seen him twice. The first time I met him, he was like, "Have you tried our 108 yet?" It was when 108 had just come out.
hit, yeah.
And he goes, "Have you tried the 108 yet?" And I go, and I kind of looked at him, and he goes like this. He goes, "I know this is how I talk." Like he knew what I was thinking. But I looked at him. He's like, "This is how I talk. I'm really this kind of man. Do you want to try the 108?" And I was like, "100%,
That's it.
dude."
That's
and
it.
he goes, it's gonna knock your socks off, son. And he had like 3 cigars sticking out of his pocket, and he was smoking because he was on the lit cigar patio where they were.
Yeah,
and so he was on
big cigar
So
guy.
he's just sitting there smoking one. And he was like, "You're gonna love this one, son." And I was like, "Can I be your best friend?"
And that is him. And it's genuine. It's not an act.
He's not.
It's not he's not putting on airs.
He's a mixture of Yosemite Sam and Foghorn Leghorn, and it's the greatest experience
It
you'll have
is.
with another human being.
So
He's so funny.
I just think of a plantation owner in South Carolina.
yes, same. A couple weeks from now is Bourbon Palooza. It's put on by the ABV Network and Steve Akeley, and so one of the and again, so my guys that help me out and invest, I take them down to Bourbon Palooza,
Sure.
and one of the events we've signed up with is to drink whiskey and smoke cigars with Fonte again.
Fantastic.
So I get to do it again. In a couple
Absolutely.
weeks.
When is this?
Yeah. It's the end of March.
We're crashing your party.
Well, and I will say, like, one of the reason why cigars and whiskey, there's actually numerous reasons why.
Sorry, very excited about this one.
That's a new bottle. So,
Brand new.
Cigars and whiskey, the history that goes into both industries, and not only the industries, but the story behind each cigar and whiskey. We've talked about it numerous times on this podcast. There's a story behind each one, each bottle, each stick.
Yep.
Because obviously it depends on which brand you're buying from, both whiskey and cigars. There are numerous brands that have an in-depth view on making the cigar and making each whiskey, each bottle of whiskey, each type of whiskey. And when you mix both of them together, not only are the tastes beautiful, but part of taste is actually, it's tied to your memory. And so last year, this is also when my brother told me, don't ever bring me an expensive cigar again, because I don't care if it's $2 or $200. He goes, I'm going to enjoy it just the same as long as I'm in good company and I've got some good whiskey. So the cigar the cigar I gave him was a one-off special edition. It was $72 stick. I had an $80 stick, and my brother ended up bringing a Henry McKenna 10-year.
Okay.
It was Memorial Day. We were sitting on my grandmother's porch.
Yep.
It was a beautiful 85-degree day.
Yep.
Enjoying the company, enjoying the whiskey and cigar. This is also when my brother said, "You're an idiot, Dan. Don't ever give me a fucking expensive cigar ever again," because honestly, a $5 stick I'll enjoy just the same.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference yet.
Well, and so
But I would appreciate it, though, right? Yeah.
absolutely. Well, and
Yeah.
that's why I gave it to him, is because my he's my brother,
Right.
but he's also one of my
Family
best
first.
friends.
Yeah,
And
right.
so I wanted to give him something very special, especially since he has twin boys, 2.5 years old. Ain't no way he's dropping $72
No.
on a stick.
No.
To whereas I can. I'm single, not married, no kids. Bless you. Shut up. And so I give him the stick, and the funny thing was is both of us had different wrappers, meaning both of us basically
Sorry.
both
Is
of
it
us
always in threes?
with him
Best
you
thing
can
comes in threes.
with
okay,
with
yeah.
him you
Jesus
can never
rose
tell.
3 days after death. Comedy comes in threes.
Single barrel cast strength finished.
Boom.
You only-
there you go. I'm
you
sure
only
with
cough
sound-
in once.
Friends. Yeah.
You only cough once.
No, I coughed 3 times. You just didn't hear it. Anyway, continue.
You're dumb. But so we end up, so both of us have different wrapping. So we have different leaves around the wrapper. Mine's more of a darker, more of a Maduro, so it's aged a lot longer. His was more of, I'd say, an Habano. So it's meaning
Mid tier.
it's not as light as like a Connecticut, but it's not as dark as a Maduro. Maduro is usually darker. Actually, I think all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got
So
like
I'm learning.
I've got
this.
like a black wrapper. Wrapper is the leaf that's
Yep,
wrapped
I'm
around
good
the
with that.
outermost.
Yep.
So Maduro is usually coupled with the taste of chocolate.
Okay.
Connecticut is coupled with the taste of like cream, vanilla.
Okay.
And then Habano is more like a baking spice.
Okay.
So like in the middle ground.
Typically.
Gotcha.
Typically.
All of this,
Right.
it depends on
the
the.
same about whiskey, right?
Right, correct.
Generally
Typically-
speaking, ryes do this. Generally speaking,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so we're having our cigar, and sure enough, we're both sipping on a Henry McKenna 10-year, and we take a sip. And it was like both of us at the exact same time were taken back to the same. So we're at my grandmother's house.
Yeah. Oh,
It's-
I remember this story. Okay,
It's
go
the
ahead.
same. So we would go to our grandmother's house every pretty much every week because they had an in-ground pool. We had a fridge. It was basically any time during grade school and high school out of any one of us kids, and even my parents, my dad when he was grown up, that was the place to be. If you
Sure.
did not have a place to be on Memorial Day, on 4th of July, on any other holiday during the summer, you would come over to the Keithley house and you'd come spend time at the pool. Same thing with all of our friends.
Yep.
And so as we take the sip, my grandmother would always buy IBC root beer
Yeah.
in the bottle. And both of us at the same time we took the sip, it was like the vision of us being at the pool drinking IBC root beer during a 95-degree day, and we both saw it at the same time.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the tasting experience, is
Right.
because when it comes to cigar and whiskey, they kind of bring you back to your better moments.
So, coming back to Jackie's ICANN, when she teaches her sensory classes, her thing is that you close your eyes and you find that taste. You're not searching for a taste or what is that. You're searching for what is that moment. It's IBC root beer
At my grandma's house.
right? And then that's root beer, and that's how you everything is tied to a memory and an experience, not a taste.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, I'm not that good. I can't do that, but this
I
is
don't think I've had this yet. Actually.
this is a very, very unique whiskey.
You did not have this at the
No, we did not. This came out
so
in
yes.
January. This is our first commissioned barrel,
meaning
that we were hired to make this barrel, which is fantastic and a big deal for us. In December, Demetrius Kane released an apple brandy that was only available at the ABV Barrel Shop in Arnold. Demetrius makes an apple brandy his family has for hundreds of years. That apple brandy is a family-only thing. Colonel Steve Akeley of the ABV Barrel Shop somehow convinced him late on a Saturday night after tasting several barrels to sell the apple brandy to the barrel shop. That whole barrel sold out in less than 24 hours. Steve says, he calls me up the next Monday, he says, that barrel's sitting empty. If you can convince Demetrius to give you that barrel and finish whiskey in it, I'll buy the whole barrel. So then I get on the phone. I email Demetrius. Demetrius does not work on Sundays and Mondays. Those are family time. So I email him on a Monday, right? Because email, he can respond to whenever he wants. So I email him. I'm like, hey, man, what's going on with that apple brandy barrel? I'm interested in buying it, doing a finishing in it. You know, it'll be an ABV Barrel Shop exclusive. Colonel Steve Akeley wants to commission us to do this. And I didn't expect to hear from him until Tuesday afternoon. And 30 seconds later, the phone rings. It's Demetrius. I'm like, hey, I didn't mean for you to call me. He goes, I said, what? You're not supposed to be working on Monday. He said, well, I work on Mondays. I just don't want to talk to people. But this is intriguing. And he had a couple stipulations. He wanted to pick the whiskey that went in it. I had to buy the barrel from him. He wasn't going to give it to me for free because the barrel itself, the barrel that the apple brandy in, is unique. It came from one tree. Barrels just don't come from one tree.
Nope.
Never, ever. That tree came off of Demetrius's land, and that tree was, those barrel staves were air seasoned. So again, our novice people listening along, once you cut the staves, the tree into staves or slats to make a barrel, they typically sit outside. It used to be that 2 years was the minimum. Barrel production is behind the rest of whiskey, and so now it's 6 months. This barrel sat out for more than 6 years.
Whoa.
So 6 years air seasoning, then the barrel gets put together, then he drops his apple brandy in there. The apple brandy sits in there for a couple years, and now I buy the barrel. And then he's like, but we're not dropping any just whiskey in there. So I put my team together. We invite Colonel Steve, because he's part of this whole thing, to taste and sample the barrel, and Demetrius. So it's really the first collaboration. Everything else that we've done so far was my decision. This was a true collaboration with Demetrius and Steve Akeley and myself. And so I said, all right, the whiskey that we need to find needs to have caramel notes in it. because then we're going to take the caramel and we're going to take that apple brandy, which presents itself as like a green apple Jolly
Granny
Rancher.
Smith, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, and I want a caramel covered
Apple.
apple finish. Demetrius said I got just the barrel. So this barrel came from his northernmost rickhouse in the northwest corner, which would get the least amount of sunlight. It was also a ground barrel, so it means it's not going to go through a lot of temperature fluctuations.
Right.
But it also sat on earth, not on concrete or wood, earth. So it's going to keep some more moisture in it. So a very special barrel that went in a very special brandy barrel. This one comes in at 105 proof. So we'll never be able to recreate this. This is only available at the ABV Barrel Shop. Still, they have bottles. Not a lot, but they have some of them. $100. Cheers.
I get my hard cast on tomorrow. I know where I'm going.
Well, I'll be down in Arnold, so if you just...
Pick me up.
Caramel covered apple.
Oh, dude, that nose. It's like a carnival. Caramel covered apple. That's...
That's not what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say funnel cake.
No.
I was about
Not
to say,
funnel
Adam,
cake.
a little off.
Which one's your favorite now, Adam?
It's... Okay, so I'm going to get a little poetic here for a second. And it's not because I've been drinking, because I'm actually quite fine.
Yeah.
Don't.
No, go ahead.
It's transcendent. So I'm a deeply spiritual person.
Mm-hmm.
Deeply spiritual person. I have a very, very strong connection spiritually with God. I believe that he speaks to me. I believe that I see things because he ordains that. I got transported to when oh, shit.
That's why I make whiskey right there. That's why I make whiskey.
So my family, my dad did everything he could to take care of our family.
Sure.
He worked all the time. And some of my fondest memories are when he would show up and watch me play baseball. And one of my fondest memories is like finishing up an inning of pitching, and he's back there and just yelling at the ump because he never agreed with any call. I was a terrible pitcher, but when I got angry, I was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, straight down the middle. And I was sixth, seventh grade, but pitching 65 because I'd get angry and just chuck it.
Yeah.
And I'd straight down the middle. And when I'd get angry enough, and he knew that if he stood back there and yelled at the ump enough, he would get the crowd going, and then the crowd would start yelling, and then the other team would start yelling. I'd get pissed and just chuck the fucking thing as hard as I could. Sorry for the language. And one of my fondest memories is just finishing the game and him telling me how, like, just awesome that I did. And we'd go get a funnel cake, or we'd go get some sort of sweet. And, like, this just instantly snapped me right back to that moment. Mm-hmm. It's that caramel apple. It's that sweet treat that you get after an awesome game of baseball. I apologize to any listeners who, don't understand the meaning of spiritualization, but,
I thought you were going to say baseball.
That's
that's holy crap.
This
Yeah,
is
you're
very
right.
good.
It's my new favorite. All right. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's perfect.
This is delicious. I will say, though, that rum cast, though,
Fuck you, Dan.
it
Be transcendent.
3 weeks. 3 weeks in that cask, and I was trying it every 5 days. I was very, very concerned about that one, overdoing it. But it's a great blend.
May I have just a...
Oh yeah, whiskey is for drinking. Pour, go. Whiskey's for sharing, man. Whiskey's for
he
sharing.
didn't say we had to.
No,
Can I just...
of course.
Actually, pouring like that, you know what that means?
What?
So, in the mafia, when you go
Yep,
to a
let's
restaurant,
go here.
I'm not gonna lie, the whole political, like, rundown of how a mafia is run, and even just the like intricate how they run things has always intrigued me. Like watching Godfather, I love the dynamics between families and seeing how things are.
Yeah.
And that's a cinema movie. So like hearing documentaries on actual crime families has always intrigued me. But apparently when someone would get in the comments, let me know if I'm right or wrong, any of you mafia members. But when you pour a bottle of wine, you're at like a dinner at a nice restaurant. If the person who's in charge or like the highest ranking member at the table is pouring wine and they want to let everyone know, hey, keep your mouth shut. There's either a rat or there's someone has not been vetted at the table. They'd pour wine on the opposite side of their hand.
Oh, and that's what I
Interesting.
just did.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea.
Okay.
I'm not that dumb.
We just found that.
I'm the rat.
I'm not dumb. I'm a rat.
I've squealed numerous times.
Lighten it up. Yeah. Drop some water. It's fantastic on an ice cube.
Drop some water, buddy.
Yeah. It'll lighten it up, and you're gonna grab more apple. That green apple, Jolly Rancher apple is gonna come through.
Dude, pour
Yep.
water in it now.
I'm getting that without the water. Open it, please.
Yes. It's
Pour
gonna be
water,
even more.
gimp.
Get your water,
Just like I put like 4 drops in there, I think.
wimp.
Another one that's
straight Jolly Rancher.
Yeah,
green.
green apple Jolly Rancher.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick Dan up tomorrow. We're gonna go buy some from Colonel. Is he an actual Colonel?
Yes, he's a Kentucky Colonel. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
He's also a Tennessee Squire.
what branch,
Really?
Colonel? What does Kentucky Colonel mean?
Kentucky Colonels.
Let us illiterates know.
Oh, great. Kentucky Colonels have nothing to do with armed services branches,
Okay.
nothing like that. Kentucky Colonels are nominated by another Kentucky Colonel, and they have done something to help the state of Kentucky represent them, grow,
wow. Okay.
be promotional. The most well-known Kentucky Colonel you know is
Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders.
That's actually
Not-
the joke I was gonna make. Is
Not
he
in
just
the military.
He's real. Yeah.
Not
He's an
that is
actual-
absolutely real. Not in the military, but represented Kentucky with
Okay.
fried chicken. Kentucky
Yeah.
Fried Chicken. That's why he's a colonel. Steve is a colonel. He was nominated by other colonels and is a true Kentucky colonel. Yes, so Colonel Steve.
I did not know that.
He's
See,
also a squire. So it goes. I don't know which, if it's Colonel Squire Steve Akeley or Squire Colonel. There's one here. Whatever I say is going to be wrong, and I'll definitely hear about it. So it doesn't matter. I don't know which one.
I met
but, yeah.
Steve one time. It was about a month and a half ago, and I went down there because my boss's house is down the street, and I stopped by. And
Yeah, I can walk there.
I'm a large person. I'm 6'4". I lied. I'm 6'3.5".
yeah, I was
And
gonna say 6'4" with lips.
I fluctuate between 310 and 315. I'm a large person. Steve is a Sasquatch. Steve is
His
a
nickname
large human being.
His nickname is the Bourbon Sasquatch.
Yeah, he is 6'7".
Well, his media company is called the Bourbon Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Do you know who gave him that nickname?
No.
Buzzard Roost.
Oh,
No way.
Come on. What's his name?
Why have we not gotten this guy to come on the podcast?
have you met him?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
So
Where was I?
You weren't. I went to his shop. I went to the ABV barrel shop. Because my
Yeah.
father said,
all they
But
do
the
is single
Buzzard
barrel.
Roost is that?
No, hold on. I'll come back to that in a moment. So if you haven't been to the ABV Barrel Shop, you should
in
absolutely go. It's in Arnold. It is the best thing
actually
happening
go
in
support
Arnold.
them because they just got destroyed by this storm.
Not destroyed, but they were shut down for a couple days. They're fine.
They're back up.
Back running. Opened on Monday. Not bad at all. But a couple days of closing, especially a Saturday, matters for a small business.
Sure.
Right? So go support them. But all they do is single barrels at cast strength.
Yep. That's all he does. In his
That's
shop.
the only thing that's there, right? Now, not quite the only thing. There's a bottled and bond section that Bernie Lubbers has brought in. All the Neely family products are in there as well. You can get anything that Royce Neely makes. There's some different stuff. But, yeah, his nickname is the Bourbon Sasquatch, which was given to him by the guy that runs Buzzard Roost, and the name is escaping me. Bourbon's Bistro, that's his place in Kentucky. Good God, this is horrible. Horrible. I played poker with him several times.
Hold on.
Edit this.
I can't
pause
remember
out.
Judith
Jason. No.
Judith Hollis.
Judith is the money. It's Jason that is the blender, taster, etc. Judith is part of the money. Jason Bronner. Bam! Thank God. Jason Bronner. So Jason Bronner opened Bourbon's Bistro, the first ever restaurant based on bourbon. Recognized as the best bourbon bar in the world, several times over by several magazines, right?
Wow.
When you go to Louisville, you have to go to Bourbon's Bistro.
Okay.
And then Bronner opened up Buzzard Roost. That's his own brand.
Yep.
Right? So he got money from the person that you mentioned and has his own brand. Well, when Steve was starting out in the bourbon world, in the bourbon business, he would stay at Bronner's Bourbon's Bistro, and he would sleep in Bronner's office on like a futon couch, because that's all he had at that time. So,
Wow.
Steve runs a podcast called he runs the Bourbon Daily, which I've been on several times, which is in the top 5% of all podcasts, not just bourbon, but all podcasts. And then he runs another one called the Bourbon. It's like every 2 weeks, and that is more focused on interviewing people. Like his latest interview was Wes Henderson. So
I'm
Whoa.
sorry. Stop it. You're shitting me.
no, Steve knows everybody. Yeah, Steve is the one.
You know
that got,
who Wes Anderson is?
He invented Angel's Envy. Yeah, and then left Angel's Envy, sold it, and now he started another company. That's why he was on with Steve.
Which is
Not
Can't
gonna.
say.
No, it's out there. It's available. I'm not gonna come up with that off the top of my head though. I don't remember it.
Yeah. So about 6 months ago, my dad said I ran into a guy named Steve Akeley. You need to contact him.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten about it for months. And my dad said he owns ABV Network,
Yep.
and
He's
he
made
owns
several movies, several books. Yeah.
the ABV Barrel Shop. And
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? This guy lives out of Arnold. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He lives in Oakville. He's a South County guy, but
So
him
he-
and Jim Fosnot opened the ABV Barrel Shop, and all they do is Fosnot was the bourbon guy for Total Wine forever and ever.
Yeah.
He left Total Wine and started the ABV Barrel Shop with Akeley, and it's single barrels, cast strength. So what
That's
they
it.
do. Last year they had 76 different barrel picks in.
And I walked in and I was like, I know that guy. I know who made that. Hey, I know Demetrius. I've known Demetrius for a while. And Steve just looked at me dead. And he's not an awkward guy. He's
Nope.
just a very unique guy.
That's accurate.
And he looked at me and he goes, I've known Demetrius before he started the distillery.
Yep.
And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. I had no
I'll
idea.
leave.
I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, like that's how I've met Jackie. I know Bronner. I know Bernie Lubbers. Fonte knows me from Akeley. That's how I got the Royce Neely thing. Yeah, Akeley opens up all that stuff for us. We wouldn't be here without one Steve Akeley, but two Jim Fosnot as well. And every time I do a presentation, I always thank Akeley and I thank Fosnot.
That's
And-
incredible.
Yeah, and we always release first at the ABV Barrel Shop.
Sure.
Through our loyalty there, we release there before we go anywhere else. And again, this bottle that we're drinking now, the apple brandy cask is only available at the ABV
Yeah.
Barrel Shop, and again, it's $100.
Well, what he's become as a colonel for Kentucky, what we are trying to openly become for Missouri.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
working with Mark Sutherland. We're trying to figure out who's Stolock Whiskey. We're just trying to get
Yep.
on the ground floor because I know that him and Demetrius and a lot of other people are trying to work in this Missouri Bourbon Trail.
Well, yes, and you will see our bourbon is now called Ozark American Whiskey.
Yep.
Right.
So I guess the Ozark Highlands Trail. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've done Kentucky Straight. We've done It's just easier for us to put Ozark American Whiskey as long as we're going through Demetrius. It's all Ozark American Whiskey. Then our label approval is much easier. and
Sure,
much more streamlined.
absolutely.
So
All right. So this last one, I know exactly what it is, and I have good.
Last one, is this 7?
This is
this
8.
is actually 8 because we did the maple pre.
Well, I meant the. Yeah.
Yep.
This is the brand new one, and I'm so excited. Oh, thanks. I just there. Okay, there you go.
It's okay
Not trying to
hit
be
it.
greedy. Not trying to be greedy.
No, again, whiskey is for sharing. We can have as much or as little as you want. It's so this one's special.
Shall we clink it? So why is it special?
This is again a Demetrius product. This came out right before Mardi Gras. This whiskey is finished in Laban. Laban is Demetrius's orange curacao. It's whiskey that he makes in Louisiana. They use oranges from Louisiana. It's a 200-year-old family recipe. And the oranges are only available for a very short time in the swamps of Louisiana. And when you're in Louisiana, you're gator hunting, and you come across another family that's gator hunting with you, and you come across them, you share some of your liqueur. And well, the liqueur that Demetrius' family shares is Laban. And so we changed the colors up on our label. It's purple, green, and an orange for Mardi Gras.
Yep.
We released this right before Mardi Gras because Laban is a whole Mardi Gras thing.
Yeah.
So finished in Laban. Again, very scared that we were going to overdo it.
And you never do.
After 5 days, I wanted to pull it, and my guys outvoted me and said, leave it, leave it, leave it. And after 9 days, I said, pull it. And they said, nope, leave it, leave it, leave it. And at 13 days, we pulled it. And that's what you have here.
This
Is whiskey finished in
is
orange curacao.
out
Laban.
standing.
110 proof, 55%.
Do you have the designs of that bull with the crown?
Yeah, that's
You
me.
own it?
I own it. Yeah, that's me. Yep. Yeah, I made that.
What's up?
Can I get that tattooed?
So we can't see. I have multiple tattoos. That will be my next tattoo.
It wouldn't be on a butt cheek or anything. Like, it honestly
Why
be
you
on
gotta
my arm.
stipulate that, man?
I gotta make sure he
Oh, should
knows
we
my
add some
level.
water to it?
Yeah. It's incredible in tea. It's incredible in lemonade.
What, water?
No, this whiskey.
Oh.
It's incredible over ice.
Drops.
Somebody took it and mixed it with Fanta and then froze it like a slushy.
Stop it.
And it's
Wait, this whiskey?
this whiskey, $100 bottle, put it in Fanta and made a slushy out of
So
it.
we're talking about a rich motherfucker. That's
No.
what we're-
No, come on.
Can you give me their name and their address?
It's on the Investment Whiskey Facebook and Instagram page.
Oh, you guys just present their
runs
name
that,
and
by the
address?
way?
I have to look it up. That's going to be awful. He's going to be on my creamy. It's like a dreamsicle.
I was
like a
literally about to say
dreamsicle,
that.
right?
After water, yep.
It tastes like a dreamsicle. It tastes like the.
And that's 110.
That's outstanding. Oh my gosh. So like the last one, transcended spiritually, right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
transcends physically. This is
Yeah.
like a
This transcends
So-
the transcend.
so dreamsicles were my favorite dessert
Right?
Yep.
growing up.
It's an absolute.
Yep.
And this whiskey is different than everything we've had tonight because the finish is forward.
It's right here.
Everything,
yeah.
everything else we had,
Right on the tip
it
of the
would be
tongue.
whiskey first, finish, maybe a mint then, or maybe a little bit of baking spice. The finish was always at the end. This is on the front,
Yeah.
and again, tasting it the multiple times that we did, it was always on the front. And I'm like, it's gonna go, it's gonna hide back, right? It's gonna. No, it never did. It's on the front.
It's always
totally
here.
unique.
Right on the tip of the tongue. I don't know why I did that, but right on the tip of the tongue. It's perfect.
Thank
Yeah,
God
it's-
nobody watches this.
It's orange, popped right away, but
Yeah,
not
this is
overly
No.
orange or. No, my crew was good at making me wait.
So orange dreamsicle is one of my favorite flavors of anything ever.
Yeah.
And so where can I
You know what's funny?
ABV, I'm assuming?
These bottles are available all over. We're in about 20 different retail locations. Besides ABV, we're at Barrel Blends. We're at
What about
Wine
St.
and
Louis Cellars?
Cheese. Not there yet. We're at several Royals. We're
Nice. Okay.
Ooh,
we're
you're
around investment-whiskey.com. And you can there's a map on there of where we're available. Investment-whiskey.com.
So
Again,
just
thanks Dave Probst. He's our man. for
yeah,
all that.
just
little
a
more.
just a skosh more, and then I do want to dig because we got to finish up here. But I do want to dig a little bit into. I had that experience with the apple brandy,
Yep.
and you said that's why we make whiskey.
Whiskey is, again, share whiskey, make friends, invest in good times. I don't know about you guys, but I don't sit at home and drink whiskey by myself.
I can't.
The only time I ever drink whiskey, and I have more than 100 bottles. I don't have a huge collection, but I've got more than 100 bottles. But I don't.
Huh?
It's not huge.
That's
it's
not
100.
huge. Wait,
No.
I had at my top, I had 50, and I was like, damn,
Look,
I might have a problem.
Steve Akeley has like 2,000.
We're gonna get to be good friends
Dave
with
Probst,
Steve.
our marketing guy, has probably 800. Right? There are guys with much bigger collections. What I have started to do, because in the beginning I was just buying everything, right? But now I only buy stuff that I really, really like.
Right.
And when I buy a bottle of whiskey now, when I buy it, I think I can't wait to share this.
Yep.
With the boys. That is why I buy a bottle that's not ours. It's all about sharing whiskey and bringing together, right? There are 5, 6, 7, 3, whatever, sitting around a table going, try this because it tastes like a freaking orange creamsicle.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
That, to me, that's whiskey is friends and sharing and good times, and that's why we make whiskey.
Well, and that's what, like, me being single, no kids, thank God. That's where so most of our episodes have been, there's been a featured cigar and a featured whiskey.
Sure.
A lot of the whiskey that we featured on this podcast has been, like, the stuff from my personal selection.
Yeah.
And that's because every time that I go out and I go buy a bottle, the reason why I bought that bottle is because I went to go share it with Adam, who's
Absolutely.
a brother of mine,
Right.
Joseph, who's another brother of mine, different last names, but same mantra, same desire, same mission.
And sometimes we don't always get along.
Well,
But it's the
That's called
it's-
family.
right.
yes.
Exactly
And
right.
in
I
the
was
same,
yelling at my sister yesterday. She loves me.
Same thing with whiskey, right? I like weeded whiskey. I will always have a bottle of Weller 12 at the house. Always.
Amen.
I think it's freaking incredible.
Black Label?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the
Oh
12.
yeah, baby.
Always have 12 at the house. I probably have 5 bottles I have Weller 12 in a 700. I have a European in a box. I have a special release that came in a can. I've got all these dumb Weller 12s.
So after the episode,
We're going to talk about where you get that.
can you ask? Yeah, can you answer my question on where you get that?
Yes.
Fucking
Yeah.
no.
We'll chat. So I always have Weller 12, but like my crew, they don't necessarily like Weller 12. But I do hang with a bunch of guys that really like and don't
Knock them.
knock it yet until I get through it. They're big Blanton's guys. Now, they're
That's
not
fine.
paying $200 a bottle for Blanton's.
Nope.
But they like the LMDW Blantons. They like the Blanton's Black, which is an extra couple years. They
Okay,
like-
they're getting different. They're not just getting the standard.
correct.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
gonna
My
line
dad's
up
got a bottle of Blanton's Gold, and it's
12,
mouth-watering
12
good.
different variations of Blanton's, right?
Well, I mean, even if
Yeah.
you get it, if you get Blanton's for $60, great,
Fantastic.
it's a great. I'll tell you.
100%.
I always have a bottle of Blanton's at the house because new guys always want Blanton's, right?
They know the name.
Yes, right. Absolutely. They always want it. They want to see the horse. I own all the horses. I've got the whole thing, right? But I'm not paying more than $100 for it.
Correct.
But at $100, it's good to have around, right? And again, why do I have that? I don't think it's the best whiskey. It's about sharing
Yep.
whiskey and having an experience with people.
Yep.
That's what it's about.
Well, and that's what. So so I've got like a section of higher end whiskeys that Adam, after coming over, like
Has finished. No, I'm kidding.
no. So there's probably about 8 to 10 bottles that I will not open up unless there's like a scheduled good time.
Yeah.
That's meant to
Right.
happen.
Right.
100%.
And I mean, shoot, even Adam, I was thinking about opening, there was a bottle. So one, I opened up a bottle of uncut, unfiltered Smoke Wagon that I've had for about a year.
Dude,
Yeah.
outstanding whiskey.
Yeah.
I didn't open up until
Outstanding.
he came over, and that was the night of the storm.
Oh, okay.
So Friday night,
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I ended
It was
up
so good.
opening. Well, he opened the bottle because I can't.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
But it was
what friends are
amazing.
for.
And I'm telling you, I could have easily crushed that bottle that night.
Yeah, it's just
But-
so great. Yeah.
I 100% agree. Whiskey is meant to be shared. Same with good cigars.
Yep. Yeah.
Because it's an experience in and of itself to enjoy.
Yep.
And then when you get to share that experience, it adds to it.
Yep.
Absolutely. And what's your palate telling you? What's your palate telling you? What do you have? Where are you getting that? It's
Yeah.
better with water, right? It's a shared experience. Absolutely. Yeah. I never. Oh, I think I'll have a whiskey. I just don't do it. It's a
Yeah.
shared experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll maybe have. I can't remember the last time I had a glass by myself. It's one of those things where, and it's what this podcast was built on.
Yeah.
And that's the honest truth. Is the three of us, used to be 5 of us, but there were added gentlemen over time. But
Yeah.
it was the 3 of us. So where you're sitting is, I don't know if people know this, but it's my garage.
Yep.
We built this studio in my garage, and before
Yeah,
it
Adam
was,
and I.
yeah, before it was a studio, it was a cigar lounge.
Yeah.
There was a couch over here, there was a futon over here that didn't work well. When you sat on it, it crinkled and crunched, and you sank down.
That's
had to
why
get
you sat on it the night I met you.
Yeah, right, yeah. And I was like, somebody needs to help me out of this thing. And there was a big TV on this wall right here. And we would sit down and we'd watch movies, just old war movies. We watched The Searchers, John Wayne. God, great movie.
I thought you were going to say John Wick. There you go. That's the whole
Oh,
Blanton's
that's
thing,
another
right?
I think we did watch
Yeah.
John Wick at one
Yeah,
point.
all about
We
Blanton's.
didn't. You know what's funny?
All about Blanton's until he sold out in the last movie.
4?
Yeah. So in the first couple John Wicks, he drinks
he
Blanton's.
drank Blanton's, yeah.
What does he drink in the last one?
I don't remember.
A Japanese whiskey because they paid him.
Oh,
And-
shit.
And
Wow.
and
That's why he
Yamazaki
almost
or
died.
whatever it is.
gave him a piece of the company.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
That's
why he almost
incredible.
died. Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so
But that's
Yeah.
where this started.
Right.
is we were sitting here just
guys,
sitting around, and we were like,
connecting.
and we started talking, and we were like, you know what? I don't care really, because everybody makes fun of podcasts. Like, who gives a fuck what you think? Well, I do.
Yeah.
And maybe my experience can transcend the airwaves and the space and the internet and help you get through a hard time,
Right.
or help you get through a soft time, or help you
Yep.
get through just life.
Yep.
Well, and I remember because we sat in here, we meant to watch a movie, but we talked the entire night. And this was a night to where, so the other buddy who's not here currently, his name's Joseph, he introduced me and Adam.
Yep.
Yeah.
And at the time, Joseph and I were going line dancing every Wednesday because he was trying to get at this one girl
Yeah.
And
Who's
which
now his wife.
Who's now his wife.
who
So-
now is the mother to one.
and almost two of his
and-
children.
So I got
Close to
I
two.
got asked. You guys know Evan Van Squake? Evan's big line dance instructor. He's an instructor at Diamond Music Hall. Do you guys go over to Diamond and dance there?
Is he a big guy?
Not so big. No, I mean he's not tall, but yeah, he's
No,
got
I
some
mean
weight.
like
Yeah, he's
heft.
got some weight.
Well, there's this guy
no.
who's about 6'2", 6'3",
No, that's not Evan.
big beard, big gut.
No, that's not
Big
Evan.
beard, but
No,
everything else.
Evan, I got you.
Okay.
That's not you.
So-
Evan Van Squake, big whiskey guy, connected, but he's also a big line dancing guy.
Oh, wow.
And teaches lessons. He's over at Diamond whenever they do it and teaches there.
So Joseph, who's the name of the other guy who comes, he's our third. Joseph and I used to go to Diamond Music Hall every Wednesday because he was trying to get at his now wife, who is now the mother to one and close to two now. She's
Yeah?
pregnant with
Okay, all right.
with her second.
Congratulations.
But so one day Joseph texted me and we met every Wednesday. Joseph goes, "Hey, I've got a buddy I want you to meet." It was Adam.
That's me.
Yeah.
20 minutes in, we were talking. Adam goes, "I need your number." And my first thought was, why the hell can't this happen with the women? And sure enough, we came over at like 7 p.m. and we stayed until like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
We meant to watch one movie.
Yep.
We didn't even get to the.
Here
We
we
didn't
are.
watch a screen. We just
didn't.
talked.
Here we are. Yep.
And here's the podcast.
Here we are.
It was stuck
Yeah.
on the Roku home screen.
Yeah. So back to Diamond. Friday night when the tornado hit, I was on stage at Diamond Music Hall.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Now, luckily, all that weather went north and south of Diamond, so I didn't have any of it there.
Yeah.
It was just at home with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wife. So, yeah. But again, I'm counting our blessings. So.
Well, and that's kind of similar because so Adam came over to my house, and I'm currently over at my parents', and we're over in Kirkwood. And so we were at my parents' place in the garage, smoking a cigar, enjoying some Smoke Wagon, uncut, unfiltered. And sure enough, everything went around us. There was a tornado North County. There was a tornado Arnold, a tornado South County.
Right. Right.
And so it literally, like, our house is right here, and at least 3 of
There
I
were-
think my
so
dad
you
said
were
there were
listening-
6 tornadoes.
There were 6 tornadoes all night. You were listening to a live stream that said at one point we were sitting in the basement and there were 4 on the ground at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So-
was nasty. This
and
is
it
the
all went
largest
around
hailstorm
us.
we've had in 20
Yeah,
years.
so I play the first set, right? I'm playing bass guitar. I play the first set. Got my Apple Watch on. We get through and we've got a tech roadie support guy, and throughout the first set, he's like, "We're okay," you know, because we're like, "Look, we're not counting on management to tell us to go
Right.
run to the bathroom. You're gonna be the guy. You give us the sign, and we're off stage." And he's like, "Nope, we're okay. Get off stage, take our short break." Come back on, and I'm like in the 3rd song of that hour set, and my watch just starts going off. I heard there's a tornado by you. Are you guys okay? Yeah.
Yep.
I see tornado in Arnold. What's going on with you? Are you okay? And my watch is just going off. Well, I'm not there, but my wife is, and our 2 dogs. And now I'm stuck on stage for the next 40 minutes. You know, I'm like, oh, it was so brutal. It was brutal. Again, everything's fine.
Everybody's
Yeah.
fine.
Siding,
Yep.
yep.
Yeah, right.
Yep. We'll have Infinity Restorations. Check it out. We'll be fine.
That's if this first person can't do shit.
Hey, it's
But-
fine. I respect loyalty more than anything else.
Yeah.
If I ever go door knocking or whatever, and they're like, "I've got a buddy, he's a friend," I'm like, "Don't talk to me."
Yeah, it's
not out of a disrespect, but like
Yeah.
I respect your loyalty more than anything
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
You know, yeah,
It's important. So
Well, and so this has nothing to do with loyalty.
Sure.
But so I actually learned the only guitar I learned how to play was bass guitar.
yeah, because
'Cause-
it's easy and simple, and I get paid for what I do, right?
My brother had a bass guitar hanging in what's now my room.
Yeah.
He ended up coming by and picking it up. But I told him when I was like, I think 16 or 17, I want to learn how to play guitar. Still do. Mm-hmm. Regular guitar.
Yeah, you got a problem with that bum hand for a while,
So
but that's
yeah,
okay.
so my swollen phalanges are going to cause a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
But
we need a jam sometime because I've been playing guitar for 20 years.
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
I got a custom Fender Select upstairs.
Nice, beautiful.
So, yeah,
well,
anyway.
I have two wrist reconstructions.
So Dan's gonna beat on a box.
I can't even do
Yeah,
that.
shaker.
I can't even do that. My wrist, I'll have to sing off key. But yeah, that's bass guitar is the one guitar I actually learned how to play.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Especially like you get that bass guitar has such a unique sound that like I love the depthness
well,
of
it
it.
carries the rest of the band.
Exactly.
well, the thing about being
But
a
it's
bass
never the
player-
front.
Right, you just beat me to it. The thing about being a bass player is like a good bass player is like a good offensive lineman in football. You should never recognize them. They should never stand out. The only time you hear the name of an offensive lineman is when
Jason
he's made
Kelly.
a mistake.
Oh, I was going to say when he actually makes it bigger outside of football.
Yeah, holding penalty number, right? And that's my philosophy of playing bass guitar. Now, there are some other bands around town I play drums in, I play guitar in, but most of my money is made playing bass guitar with the Retro Nerds, theretronerds.com. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and it's just about providing support for everybody else.
Are you laughing at my story?
No,
earlier?
I laughed at my own joke.
Oh, I literally. So today, I wasn't like supposed to drive for the
Yeah.
past 2 weeks because I had surgery 2 weeks ago. Hard cast on tomorrow, thank God. But today, I ended up going to like Quick Trip just to go grab like a drink,
Yeah.
a little bit of beef jerky. It's my favorite snack. So I'm in line and I'm wearing the shirt that Adam handed me because I came over
He
with
was
like
at my house
a
one night
button-down
with a
shirt,
really
khakis.
nice. Yeah, he had khakis button down and a blazer on. So I handed him. Shout out to Zachary Levi who plays Shazam.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yep.
Shazam. He played Flynn Rider in Tangled. He's one of my favorite actors. He's conservative, super
Yep.
Christian guy. He's a great guy.
Yep.
But he started a company back in 2011 called The Nerd Machine.
Oh,
And I followed him when he was on the television show Chuck. He was the main character.
Love Chuck.
And so I bought a bunch
Yvonne
of his... Yvonne Strahovski.
Yes.
You want to talk... I had a thing for brunettes until Yvonne Strahovski got on screen. And I was like, I'm a
That's
blonde
just
guy.
not right.
I'm a blonde guy now. And
Yeah.
they know how to do kung fu. But anyway.
Well, you know what's
so
funny
he
is your
started-
wife's a brunette, so
Yeah,
suck
it's
it.
true. And she's the hottest. Never mind. We're not going to go there. She's
Nice
had
save.
she's had 3 kids and still holds it
No?
up. Anyway,
Okay.
So he started a company called the Nerd Machine, and it was all about every bit of profit went to Operation Smile, which is a organization. I don't know if they're still in existence, but they helped fix cleft palates across the
nice.
world.
Great.
Now he restarted Nerd Machine about I want to say 6 months ago, and it's all about mental health, and that's what we're about.
Nice.
But anyway, I bought an original shirt that had the words Nerd Machine on it.
Yeah.
And so I gave that to him because it doesn't fit me anymore. So
Yeah.
finish the story.
So he gave me the shirt because one day I came over nicely dressed and I I think the plan was basically just hang around the kids, and I didn't want to be in this button-down shirt and khakis all day.
Yeah.
Because kids spit up and throw
Right,
up and
yeah,
throw things.
And
food.
so
Ketchup,
I'm wearing this Nerd Machine shirt.
Vanilla wafers, etc. Yeah.
Throw up shit, everything. So I'm wearing this Nerd Machine shirt today just because it's a shirt that fits over my cast.
Yep.
I can go out. I can sleep in it. First of all, number one, it fits.
Yeah, sure.
Second of all, I don't care. It's a shirt. Again,
Right,
I'm not
right.
walking around shirtless. So I'm at Quick Trip, and this old guy who's probably about like 75 years old looks at me and goes, "Hey, what man goes out in public in a shirt that says Nerd Machine?" And I turn around, and he's laughing. I go, "A man who honestly just doesn't give a fuck anymore." And he starts laughing. He goes, "You know what? I like it." And
So let's talk about the Retro Nerds a little bit. So the Retro Nerds have been around for 15 years now.
Nice.
What we do is
Prepubescent. Nice.
what we do is
Welcome.
We play all 80s music
Nice.
dressed as Revenge of the Nerds.
That's amazing.
Perfectly
Describe
synced.
it.
Perfect
Revenge of the Nerds is a movie series
from the 80s
from the 80s.
about how the nerds deal with college life and overcome the challenges of the jocks, etc.
Yeah.
Right?
Pocket protectors.
Absolutely.
100%.
Glasses.
All the time.
Yeah. So
Hell
that's
yeah.
what we
Yeah,
look
baby.
like.
Yeah,
right?
baby.
And then perfectly synced on multiple video screens or projectors is the video from the 1980s.
That's amazing.
So synced down to the 1/100th of a second, right? So while
That's
we
incredible.
play, you get the video, and then pyro, fog, smoke, geysers, lights. It's a whole big
The
show.
whole Pearl Jam show.
So we've
Oh,
been
yeah,
doing
baby.
it for 15 years now. We've got multiple sponsors.
Shameless plug. That's amazing,
Yeah, yeah. So theretronerds.com, we'll play 50, 60 dates a year, and yeah, it's
Nice.
yeah, the guys
That's
are
incredible.
incredible musicians, and yeah, it's lots of good time. So yeah, last Friday we were at Diamond. Saturday we were up in Wood River at the Pump House. So
That's awesome,
April
dude.
1st, you can catch us at the St. Louis Blues game
Hot.
for Superhero
Damn.
Night. Yes.
That's incredible.
Super-
That's
Superhero night.
amazing.
Yeah. This will be our third
What a
or fourth
plug,
year
dude. That's
doing
awesome.
that for the nerds.
Go buy Blues tickets. Go
Yeah.
see Retro
Yeah.
Nerd.
April
Yeah, that's
1st,
right,
yeah.
baby.
Yep, before the
Who
game.
cares about the Blues?
Hey, the boys are coming on.
They are.
They are coming on.
10
Really?
3-3 in the last 16
And
games.
the favorite of the 4 wild cards to be into the playoffs.
Yep.
Right.
They're
on fire.
churning it, dude. Something happened to where Benner just turned it on after the Olympics or after the Winter Classic or
Well,
whatever it was.
I think he got some confidence.
Who?
That
Benner,
Bennington, the goalie.
Bennington.
Yeah,
Okay.
the goalie. I think he got some confidence from that.
100%.
His first couple games were not necessarily great.
No.
But then he wins the gold medal game, right?
Yeah,
And
it
won
was-
it, threw the
was
team on his back.
Outstanding.
Right? And I wish USA would have won, but if we didn't, and Bennington comes back and is better, right? All
Why
that.
not? Yeah.
And then the team had enough time with Coach Montgomery to figure out what that looks like. Second best record since the break.
Yep.
Yep. Stingiest team on defense since the break. And the other night, they gave up 20 shots on goal to Minnesota for the whole game. They're on fire.
So I've
They're
got a
on
question.
Fire.
Didn't Steve Ott start the season off as head coach?
No. No. We started with the guy that was there from last year. I can't even remember his name. That's how forgetful he
Yeah,
is.
he's forgetful.
Because he was the yes man from the minor league team.
Yeah.
And then Campbell got canned by the Bruins, and we grabbed him because he's
Yeah.
a former Blue and a former coach here.
So Steve Ott,
Is still a coach.
Yeah.
why? Because I swear to you, at the start of the season, there was like 1 or 2 games to where I was watching, and they kept talking about Steve Ott.
He's an important part of what's
Yeah,
going on.
yeah.
And probably if the coach that was here didn't do well, Otter would have taken over probably in the interim.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, because I thought Steve Ott started the season, and then like a quarter of the way through, they just threw him off.
No, they got
Okay.
rid of the guy when
No one's
Bennington.
watching this.
They might be.
They will, because I make the clips.
10 people.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you guys.
we're going on.
Thank you so much.
It was so much fun.
We're
Thank
going
you.
on 2
Thank you,
episodes.
buddy. I appreciate you so much.
Left hand.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
We are the
appreciate
Bourbonists. We have Adam.
Michael.
And Dan.
Join us at the table next time. We'll see you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it so much.
Or not.